Rockets. Hello and welcome into episode 44 of Two Man Game with Damon and Dom. I'm Damon, that's Dom, and you are the listener. Episode 44, shout out Davis Bertans. He wore 44, I think, on many teams, probably. That's the only person I think of. I know you said you have one too. Before we get into it, though, let's like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, leave 5 stars, download the episodes, and with either platform, share it all. Get those little like Nerf footballs and like write our podcast on it and just throw them at people. Or like the newsboys when they drive by the houses with the papers, like, yeah, listen. I don't know.
What you said.
Yeah, you got it. We have a lot to get into today, a lot of free agency news. It's been a busy week. We're gonna fly through a giant list of names, and we'll talk about some of them for 5 seconds and some of them for a little longer than that. But before we do any of that, Dom, how are you today?
I'm doing good on this beautiful day that we are recording the Patrick Williams slash Paul Reed episode. I have two names, number 44s. Although Patrick Williams used to wear number 9.
Better than Davis Bertans.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all going to come up later. So
True.
that's what matters.
That's very true.
They're all relevant, which is funny. But I'm doing good. 4th of July was a lot of fun. Before we started potting, I showed you my back. I did get sunburned. I was on a boat for 4 hours and that with friends, and that was a lot of fun. Had a really good time, and then I went had a party in the Hollywood Hills pool
Mm.
party, and I watched the fireworks around 9. All the cities in LA do their own fireworks show, so I could see it all across the LA basin, which was very beautiful, and had a good time. And I had to go into work Friday, but that's okay.
Yuck.
I know. It's all right though, because I got to sleep like 11 hours last night. So I'm doing good. And I'm seeing Blink-182 tonight. So I'm super excited for that. And I'm
That
sure I'll
band's
talk
still
about that next
alive.
time. They're still kicking.
They
Uh,
broke up for a long time, right?
yeah, they broke up, got back together, broke up, got back together. Isn't that beautiful? But you know who I care, what I care more about than Blink-182? How you are doing.
I'm doing well, thank you. I didn't do anything on the 4th of July. I sat in my apartment all day. Actually, I watched 11 episodes of The Boys, because I had never watched it before, and I just turned it on and it just kept going. I still don't even know if I like it or if it's good, but I'm like into season 2, episode 4 now.
You're
Each
like,
episode's like an hour long. I just sat there all day. That's all I did. So I was off. And then I was off Friday as well, which was
nice.
nice. And then I played basketball earlier today. The offense was not there.
Happens.
Yeah, but my defense, very good defense.
Always there. It's always
Picking
there.
pockets, blocking shots. Yeah.
Yeah, you came out with like 2 watches. You're picking pockets left and right. You got 2
Yeah.
watches and a wallet. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was good. It's like 2.5 hours just constant play because there's only like 8 or 9 of us there. So we just kind of
Nice.
were swapping out like a guy or two, and every time they're like, "All right, you're on my team." And I was like, "Okay." Going back in. But yeah, good otherwise.
Nice. I'm playing basketball tomorrow with some friends, so that'll be fun.
I
Looking
will
forward to
be
that.
I will be going tomorrow too.
Very
I don't like
cool.
I'm not I wouldn't say I'm like friends with a lot of people at the rec, but like I see a lot of the same people, Like it's to the
Yeah.
point where like I just get in there, I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Like how are you?" Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I am actually I'm meeting up with a friend. I none of the people I meet up with are people they're people I know outside of basketball.
Mm,
I don't every time I go to these courts, it's different people. It's actually crazy.
yeah.
I guess this place is huge. So it's just like,
It is LA.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we're going somewhere else. I'm meeting him because he came to me. I'm going to go to him tomorrow. So I'll meet him. Yeah, what shirt are you wearing though?
Oh, I'm wearing Rockets. It's a Rockets the city skyline with Russell Westbrook's number and name on the back. I got it for like $5 at Dick's Sporting Goods once upon a time,
Yeah,
after he was traded. But yeah, I just took a shower after basketball and threw on the first shirt that I saw, really. I
for
put
sure.
no thought into it.
No, you're good. I'm almost at that point too. We're going to talk about some Olympic news. I was going to throw on my Lithuania basketball shirt, which
Yeah.
I've worn before, but they haven't advanced yet. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So I'm just wearing my a UT Texas shirt. So
It just thundered so loud I heard it through my headset as you were talking.
really, I didn't hear it at all. So you have good acoustics, I guess. But yeah, I guess are we just gonna dive right into some basketball news? We got so much to talk about. I'm really excited.
Let's dive in. Tell me about these Olympics that you want to speak of, because that
Yeah.
is your realm.
Yeah, so the Olympics are starting at the end of this month, and right now there's some qualifying tournaments for for some countries who didn't make it initially. So Lithuania is one of those teams, and they're one win away from qualifying for the Olympics. They beat Mexico, Ivory Coast, and Italy. They beat Italy today. So in the final, they're either going to face Mexico or Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
So whoever wins that's going to make it to the Olympics. And in different countries to mention Greece, who has Giannis Antetokounmpo. They eliminated Slovenia from qualifying for the Olympics. So kind of crazy, but
Interesting.
Luca will, I guess, get some rest this summer, getting ready for and heal up and because he's definitely not 100% still.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so it's probably for the best. But a little unfortunate that they won't qualify because last year they last Olympics, not last year, they made it, I believe, they fought for bronze or they played for
Hmm.
bronze, and I think they got fourth. But I mean, for Slovenia, that's really good. They
Yeah.
usually never make it that far. So
4 years is a long time in the basketball world.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I
But
guess it was like 3 years because of the pandemic,
yeah,
right?
it was
Yeah, yeah.
2021. I remember my dad was visiting and we watched that game and
Very
the gold
nice.
medal game. It was fun. It was cool. I look forward to watching that. I'm look forward to manifesting Lithuania winning, and I can't wait to watch Lithuania play in the
Let's
Olympics
go Lithuania.
in Lithuania. That's going to be
That
crazy.
would be awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. But that is all the Olympic news so far. I mean,
Great.
you might have seen like there's a lot of exhibitions happening. France and
Well,
Canada, the US, like they're just playing some games, getting ready, and they all look very good. It should be a really good Olympics this year.
yeah. I mean, good Olympics, but USA, I saw their meetup. We talked about this a little before the pod. They had just a weird like filming all the players getting together, dapping up each other in absolute silence for like 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
all those players in that room, I was like, what's the starting lineup? Steph, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Joel Embiid. That's a terrifying starting lineup. And then he's got
Yeah,
Devin Booker and Tyrese Halliburton and Bam and all these other people off the bench. Kawhi. So interesting he's going to play considering he didn't play in the playoffs. But
I know. Yeah, he actually grew out his hair. I've never seen him with long hair. He
yeah,
looks like usually he has it braided or something, but it's
yeah.
not braided. It's just kind
I
of
saw,
like
yeah,
poofy.
when he walked in with
Yeah,
this little bag.
yeah.
Why? Yeah, weirdo. Um,
Um,
exciting though. Very
It'll be
exciting.
fun.
They'll
Yeah,
crush everyone. But you know,
no.
hopefully Canada has Andrew Wiggins on their side.
Well, maybe I don't know. We'll see if he gets traded.
But tell me about this news because you told me about this before the pod. I
Oh
didn't even
yeah,
hear
for
about
sure, for
this.
sure. Yeah, so right before we potted, I was going over just some news to make sure we're all up to date. We talked about this before, Jonte Porter and his betting scandal. Betting, thousands of dollars on betting on the overs and unders on his game
The
and
unders.
at the unders for sure. You're right, not overs for sure. Well, so the federal prosecutors filed some court papers, and it indicates that that he will be faced with a felony charge for this betting scandal. So, I don't know how much jail time. It might be jail time, not just a fine or something. So, that's pretty crazy, and looks like they're taking it pretty seriously. You hate to say it or see it, but like to be made an example of, so
Yeah,
other players won't do it. But he did the wrong thing. Shouldn't have been doing that. So
he's in timeout.
um, he's in timeout. We'll see what happens. We'll keep you updated. But I thought since we talked about it, should have
Yeah,
mentioned
for
that.
sure. I'm glad you provided us with that update.
Yeah.
Something I saw that I thought was interesting. Kemba Walker announced his retirement from the NBA officially, so not just the NBA, but basketball in general. And then one day after that announcement, it was reported that he would be joining Charles Lee's staff on the Hornets as a player enhancement coach. So, do you have any thoughts about Kimba's career, retirement, joining the coaching staff? Where do you want to take it?
Yeah. Well, really never heard of Kemba Walker until I started watching basketball again in 2020, and I think at this point he was on the Celtics.
It's probably right when he joined the Celtics.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, he's a good player, but then he kind of just fell out of the rotation on a lot of these teams afterwards. And then I think he played overseas the last
Hmm.
year. I know the largest time he spent was on the Hornets. I never watched him on the Hornets or anything like that. I believe he was on the Bobcats too.
Yes, he was
Yeah, I remember seeing some
huge.
clips from that. The legend,
The
Charlotte
worst team
Bobcats
ever.
legend, Amika Okafor.
The 7 and
Uh,
62 Charlotte Bobcats or whatever.
yeah, it's crazy. But I'm glad to see that he is not, quitting basketball entirely. He will still be a part of the basketball world. He was one-time All-Star,
No,
which is worth
he
noting.
was a many time All Star.
Oh, really?
He was very good on the Hornets.
Oh, okay.
He's
I
like probably
thought
the best player in Hornets history.
BJ Armstrong. I mean, come on. Muggsy Bogues. Come on, dude.
I would say the people up there like Larry Johnson, Glenn Rice, maybe Al Jefferson.
Never heard of him. I'm a
Okay.
Muggsy Bogues guy till I die. Yeah, come on, he's short king, literally the definition of short king. But besides that, I mean, it's nice to see, like I said, that he's still gonna be a part of basketball and he's well respected in the community. I mean, is there anything you want to add?
Retire his number. Um,
What number was he on the Hornets again?
15. I
Okay.
I do like that he went to the Hornets immediately. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
That's kind of his place that, like you said, he got drafted to, spent most of his career. Four-time
Yeah.
All-Star. 2016 to 2020, he was an All-Star in all of those seasons.
Really? Okay, cool.
Three with
Good to
the Hornets, and then the first season with the Celtics, he was an All-Star.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
and then yeah, he had just a bunch of injury issues, knee issues.
Yeah,
And
that'll
just
do it.
like got slammed out of the league instantly. It's hard when you're like he's like 6 foot, 6'1" when you're like a small guard like that. It's
Yeah.
hard to hold up. So
You can only do so much. But he had a good career. And I'm excited to see what he does.
thank you,
Hopefully it helps the
Kimba.
Hornets. Thank you, Kemba Walker. Name of the episode. I was gonna say that immediately. Um, but yeah, so I thought what the funniest thing was is that one of our friends who we know doesn't really watch basketball just texted us out of the blue saying, "Damn, Kemba Walker retired." And we
Oh,
were like,
oh yeah. I
"What?"
was like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Shout out Thomas. We're like, "What?
Thomas, yeah.
What?" Like, we know, but why?
I was just
I
like, what are
didn't
you
know
talking
you.
about?
Yeah. It was just I thought that was so funny. It's whenever a friend of mine who I've never heard talk about basketball once sends me something basketball, I was like, why? Just I
Also,
thank you,
like
but
this is not like a big like it's not like a
like
big
damn.
news.
It's
It's
not like LeBron is out of the league. It's Kemba
yeah,
Walker who wasn't in the league for like 2 years. So
right.
um yeah, and other news, so some coaching news that we got
Coaching,
going on. The Lakers have hired Nate McMillan and Scott Brooks as top assistant coaches. Interesting, since they have been head coaches before.
yeah,
And now
lots
they
of
will be
experience there.
top assistant coaches to JJ Redick. How do you feel about those signings?
Well, you're the Lakers fan, so your opinion really matters. But I think it's good because JJ Redick is is a rookie head coach. So, get some guys around him that have done that before. And I feel like that'll be good, right?
Yeah, that's my exact thinking. Yes, since you already are, you're double downing on JJ Redick as the head coach, might as well put
Double
as
downing.
much. I mean, like they are. He is. I mean, they signed him 4-year contract. So
Yeah.
it's like he's going to be our head coach for the next 4 years. Might as well put as much experience behind him as possible.
That should be
So
our betting thing. How like over under years that coach makes it through their contract.
that would be actually crazy. And also, it's a long term. That's a long term
Yeah.
bet. I like
Like
that.
Kenny Atkinson just got the 5-year deal. Will he make it all 5 years? I don't know.
Oh, interesting. That would be kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
But
No
yeah, but I like those signings.
other coaching news, the Warriors have hired Terry Stotts as their lead assistant coach. Of course, longtime head coach of the Trailblazers, and also somewhere else before, but that was too long ago. I don't care enough. And Jerry Stackhouse as an assistant coach, which I thought was interesting. Jerry Stackhouse has been head coaching the G League. I did not know that.
Oh, I
I
didn't
was
know that
reading into
either.
this. Yeah, but of course, played in our childhood. Mavericks is like the team I remember the most.
Me too, yeah. I think Pistons. Pistons
Pistons.
too, yeah.
I want to say Wizards. I could be wrong.
That sounds right. But I'm not gonna check.
I'm not. Yeah, I will check because it'll bother me. But
Okay,
what
yeah.
do
But
you
I
think
mean,
about those signings?
I like it. I mean, they are experienced coaches and players, so good for the Warriors. I don't know who left though. That's what's interesting. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? I I see a lot of hirings, but I don't see who got let
Right.
go.
It's like somebody I've never heard of, probably. Like some
Yeah,
guy who's
exactly.
just been
So
assistant coach. Yeah,
yeah.
drafted to the 76ers, and then the
Hmm,
Pistons, and then the Wizards for 2 seasons, then the
nice.
Mavericks, and then he finished his career on a little bit of a tour, went Milwaukee, Miami, Atlanta, Brooklyn the last 4 years.
Gotcha. And speaking about players that I've or coaches I've never heard of, the Cavaliers have hired Johnny Bryant to become associate head coach to Kenny Atkinson, and he
Yeah.
spent 4 years with the Knicks and the previous six with the Jazz. Have you heard of him before?
Nope.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
I
I
feel
was
like
like,
I've maybe heard the name once or twice, but
no, you're thinking Kobe Bryant. You're thinking Thomas
I
Bryant,
have
Miami
heard
Heat
of Kobe
legend.
Bryant. That's a guy I'm familiar with.
Um, yeah. So yeah, cool. Good for the Cavs.
Yay.
Yeah, good for Kenny Atkinson.
Uh, Head coaching news. JB Bickerstaff has agreed to a 5-year deal to be the head coach of the Pistons. Of course, just fired from the Cavaliers this offseason. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this fills all the head coach vacancies in the NBA right now, I think. Um, yeah, I thought it was interesting that they hired JB Bickerstaff. Because I didn't, like I mentioned when he was fired, I thought he was fine in Cleveland. 5-year deal. You didn't learn your lesson with Monty Williams. The
I
Monty
thought
Williams
exactly, yeah.
deal was like, I know it was basically like, I don't want to coach, and they were like, we will give you so much money, and he was like, okay, but I still don't really want to coach. So he just took the money and ran with it. JB Bickerstaff, a division rival. Divisions don't really matter in basketball. The Cavs and Pistons. I know. I think James Borrego declined the job.
Oh, interesting.
Because I know he was with Trajan Langdon in New Orleans, so
Hmm.
I think they were like linked to this. But either, yeah, I think he declined it. Is what I heard. But yeah, do you have any strong thoughts about JB and DP?
JB and DP, I don't really have a strong opinion. I mean, it's nice to see that he will continue to have a head coaching job. That's not for the Cavaliers, for the Pistons. This will be a little bit different because the Cavaliers were contenders. The Pistons are not. So maybe
Pretenders.
pretenders. So maybe that will, like I said, like we both said, like he's a good coach. So, but maybe he could do some development there. Maybe that's what they're hoping for with signing him there. But it's the biggest question mark to me was the 5-year deal too. And it's like you just love paying people.
Yeah,
Like how long is he going
these
to
guys
be
are
there
gonna
for
be
that?
paying coaches forever. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it. Like a new GM, I'm gonna hire my guys. Like I
Yeah.
kind of get it. And the Pistons seem like they're starting over again after being the worst team in the NBA. So
Yeah.
it's tough, but
Pretty good change of pace though. But yeah, and this is some surprising news. I think we might have mentioned this last time, but
I don't think so. I
uh
don't think it had been in the ether yet.
oh,
Maybe.
I think you texted me and we talked about it slightly. So the Boston Celtics majority ownership group, led by Wick Grousbeck, has made the franchise available for sale. The investment group purchased the team in 2002. So you win your 18th championship
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm out.
That's it.
And that's it. I don't really is it because you think they'll get the most money for it now? Like it's worth the most it might be for a while. I don't know how, selling,
Um,
sports teams works, but
I I have a theory.
okay, enlighten me.
One, I don't know if you know this, but their ownership group is called 18 Banners. I think, or
So they're
something like
like,
that.
oh, so we got 18. So
And we're gonna get into their free agency news, but basically what they did was re-sign everyone for a
yeah.
lot of money. And they're going to be a second apron team for a long time, and it's going to cost them a lot of money. So somebody else can pay them.
Mm.
I think is maybe the idea. I mean, from 2002 to 2024, I imagine the two championships right in that time, the this
Yeah,
one, and then
2008
yeah,
and then yeah.
I imagine the value has only grown and grown and grown.
Yeah.
Um, I know the Suns sold for 4 billion. The Celtics are a much more valuable franchise than the Suns, I would say. The reports I was seeing was about 6 billion, somewhere in the 6 billions. That's a lot of money. Um, yeah, I can get $6 billion and not have to like pay money to these people. Maybe like long-term investment you'll lose if the next however many years you would make it up. But if I'm 70 years old and I can make out with billions of dollars, sure. It is a weird time to announce it right after winning a championship, though.
Well, it's because they got their 18, so they're done.
A mission done.
Mission accomplished. They're like, when they bought it, they're like, what should we call it? It's like, what if we call it 20 banners? No, 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 it's too optimistic.
Uh,
18 sounds a bit more right. Well, you mentioned the second apron. You want to go into the salary cap real
yeah.
quick?
Yeah, I want to go into the salary cap for next season. It has been dropped slightly lower than what it was projected. It was projected during the season to be 141 million for the upcoming season. Instead, it is going to be just below that at 140 million 588,000, so about $400,000 off there. To get to the luxury tax, that's 170 million 814,000. So that's when the owner has to kind of just pay additional money out of their pocket because their team's a little more expensive. The first apron is 178 million 132,000. I'm not exactly sure what the first apron really means. I think it's like even more like restrictions on like who you can pay and things like that. And then
Yeah,
the almighty second apron, which was just announced last offseason, 188 million 931,000. So the second apron, we talked about it before on the pod. I think it affected free agency a lot, which we're going to get into here in a bit. But basically, when a team is in the second apron, they're very restricted. If they trade anything, they have to basically be exact salary matches. Whereas teams not in the second apron, you have a couple million threshold, where my team's over the salary limit, but it's a million off or 2 million off. That's okay. Now it's like your contract's, your 40,238,000 dollar contract has to match another one exactly, which is really hard to do,
yeah,
especially because when people sign determines how much money they make because it's a percentage of the salary cap is kind of how the salaries are determined. So the mid-level exception, for example, this year is going to be more expensive than it was last year because the salary cap is higher this year than it was last year. So
yeah,
getting those salaries to match is really tricky. Also, your draft assets basically get frozen, so you can't trade first round picks when you're in the second apron, which of course contending teams like to do, trading first round picks because they're mortgaging their future for the present so they can contend. And also something that's interesting, if you're in there for like, I think it's like 2 or 3 consecutive years, your pick gets set to last in the draft, which is so interesting. But I feel like that is a punishment, but also, the Boston Celtics, their pick was going to be 30th anyways, because like
yeah,
they were a good team. So it depends on what kind of team you're in. The Celtics are going to be one of those second apron teams. I believe there's 8 of them that were in the tax this last year, not second apron, but at least in the luxury tax.
hmm
And they distributed $12 million to other teams. I don't really know what that means. I don't know who, does that just go in the owners' pockets? I'm not sure.
yeah.
And there's some owners that are notoriously cheap. So like the Nuggets, for example, their owner didn't like he basically said, and we'll get into the KCP later, but he basically said like KCP is just like a guy in the rotation, he's not that important. So he didn't want to pay him a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's other teams like Steve Ballmer, the Clippers, who's like, money, 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 you can have it all. I'm gonna pay everything because I want to build the greatest team. Um, so yeah, these aprons were, people have been complaining about it owner wise, but the owners did agree to it. So like I don't know why they're complaining because they were okay with it at the time. But yeah,
Yeah, that's
basically
yeah.
to sum it down, the more money you spend on your team, the harder it's going to become to build your team in the
Yeah.
future.
And I think it's important also to note that there is a minimum that you have to spend on each
Hmm.
team. Like you can't just be like the owners can't be like, I'm just gonna literally fill the roster with vet minimum guys, so then I'll get to keep all the money. It's like, no, you got to use a certain. Do you know what the is it the 120 million you
The
have to
minimum,
spend?
I'm not sure what the minimum is.
Yeah, I
I
just
don't
know
know.
that there is a minimum,
There
which
is a
which I
minimum. There's
think
a
matters
salary
too.
floor. Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to
which
allocate a
is
certain amount of funds.
yeah, which is important. And I like the idea of this because I mean we talked about this before, but this is the reason why I like the NBA a lot more than other sports because there
Absolutely.
is a cap and it's not you can't just like load up on talent like the Steve Ballmer can't just spend all of his money on getting all these all-stars or whatever, you know. So yeah, you're gonna if you're a fan of the NBA and you watch basketball, you're gonna hear the word second apron a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so
Scary.
warning you now if you like basketball.
Yeah, this is why I like basketball and not baseball, because like the Dodgers and Yankees can just spend billions of dollars on their teams and sign people to crazy contracts, and there's like no penalty basically. So
Yeah, just wild.
basketball has parity, baby.
And we love that. And you know what? What else I love? Free agency. Oh.
I was
We're
trying to do an
ready.
air horn. I don't think
I know. I think
that's
I was. This looks like I was just like exercising my fingers, but I was trying to push down on the air horn. If you're just listening to the pod and not
You
watching,
gotta
continue
watch, man.
listening. Don't watch
You
because
gotta watch.
I'm doing finger
You gotta
exercises.
go back and watch the Cramp episode too. What a great episode.
Oh my god! I went back and watched that. I was like, it looked like I died on camera.
I was watching it while I was cleaning the other day, and like the camera just
Like
stops, and I'm
and
just sitting
Dom
here
is
talking
gone.
to the
Yeah.
ether. And
I
you like
listened
turn your camera back on, and you're like, You're like,
because I had to pop in and then I had to pop back
yeah,
out and then I popped back in.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not gonna happen today because I've been drinking a lot of water.
Water's good, guys.
Water's good.
Drinking water.
Stay hydrated. You know what else is good? Free agency news.
Good
Bow,
bad.
bow, 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 bow.
Yeah,
So
perfect
we're gonna
segue.
yeah, we kind of it's kind of sporadic, but we did rate this on what we think is the least important to the most important stuff, and we'll kind of sum up
Relatively.
relatively, obviously, because like the first team we're going to talk about is the Hawks, but you could argue that they had an important offseason in in totality because they
Right.
got rid of DeJounte Murray or
And
traded for
we'll rank
DeJounte
the
Murray.
off seasons later once we
Yeah, that's going to be a
uh,
3.5 hour podcast down the line.
That's
This one's
our second and third episode were both off-season recap episodes. They're so long.
yeah. But starting with the Atlanta Hawks, they did not extend the qualifying offer to Sadiq Bey, sending him into unrestricted free agency. And that's about all that they did. So he won't be back with the Hawks most likely.
Yeah, interesting. He's a good player. They
Yeah.
traded for him, and when he could have gone to the Warriors at the trade deadline. Yeah. Usually you extend the qualifying offer. It could be like I think when you don't, you have more salary to play around with. So like
Yeah.
there could be a hush hush like don't worry, we'll still sign you, but nothing yet.
Nothing yet. And then who do we got next?
Next, the Grizzlies declined Luke Kennard's $14.8 million team option. It's a big team option. But both sides are expected to work out a new deal. Nothing yet. Nothing has happened. Luke Kennard's out there, guys. 3-point
Do,
shooter.
do you think his deal will be worth more than 14.8 million?
Absolutely not.
I was gonna say because it's a team
It's
option.
a team
That's
option.
why.
Yeah,
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, he's not worth. Yeah, he's good, but he's not worth that for sure.
Man, Malik
Toronto.
Beasley, we'll get into him. But yeah, go ahead.
We'll get into that. Toronto Raptors, they signed Garrett Temple back for a 1-year deal to return. Who is it? I don't remember either. Let's
You don't
continue.
know Garrett Temple?
He's a name.
He's one of those guys that I feel like has been in the NBA for 30 years. It's like
Yeah,
he's never done anything. So
exactly. It's a name I know, and it's a name that won't change anything.
I want to do an episode with you, where we both give each other 3 players and we have to like list their career in like team order.
Okay, that's gonna be impossible for
Garrett
me.
Temple would be the impossible, and like I don't even know what teams. I couldn't tell you what teams he's played for.
I feel like Jeff Green would be also impossible to do in order.
There's so many.
In order would be tough for
Yeah.
sure.
The Kings have signed Alex Lynn to a 1-year, $3.3 million deal to return. And also they are apparently in serious pursuit of DeMar DeRozan. He's like meeting with them sometime this weekend, I think, and
Yeah.
to talk about a potential sign and trade. So any strong feelings toward the DeRozan fit in Sacramento?
So he's not a floor spacer by any means, but they have quite a bit of shooting already on the team with
Yeah.
Keegan Murray,
Keegan.
Herter, and Harrison Barnes. So, if you're getting rid of shooting to bring in DeMar DeRozan, I'd say it's probably not worth it.
Mhm.
But I mean, as the Kings, you've either been a first round exit or a play-in team the last 2 years, and if you want to make that push, DeMar DeRozan if you're just trying to get more talent on the
Yeah.
team, he does bring more talent to the team. So, I don't hate it, but I'm curious what they would give up. in return. As long as they don't give up too much shooting, then I'd say why not go for it?
You can't give up Fox, Monk,
Sabonis.
Murray, yeah, Sabonis, and I don't know. I would even say like I don't even want to throw like Kevin Huerter or Keon Ellis in that deal. Like I want to
Yeah.
give you Harrison Barnes and like some draft capital.
Yeah. And it's like, is that worth it for the Bulls? It's like, well, they need draft capital. So like,
Yeah,
do the Kings have it? That's the question. But yeah, we'll see. I don't hate it.
it'd be interesting. That would be a team of a bunch of players that I like. So
Yeah. Yeah. It would, I mean, I already like the Kings. Like I have a
yeah,
good reason to like them. So now, I'll probably like them even more. So we'll see.
tell
We'll
me
keep y'all
about
updated.
Brooklyn.
Um, yeah, so next we got the Brooklyn Nets. So this is kind of an update on the Mikal Bridges trade.
Hmm.
So Shake Milton was signed and traded to the Nets from the Knicks as part of the Mikal Bridges trade. So he signed a 3-year deal, $9 million. Also worth mentioning, Keita Bates-Diop went to the Knicks in the trade as well. So 4 teams in 1 year, essentially.
That guy
Uh,
has been on so many teams in his NBA career.
it's great. Well, do you have any? What do you think about Shake on the Nets?
The Nets are the team when it comes up on called game or like the Pirtle.
Yeah.
Like it shows up that it's a net. I'm like, who's on that team? I have no
Yeah,
idea.
there's so much like I feel like there's gonna be even more movement of players like leaving, like Cam Johnson, I think is a
Yeah, Cam
name.
Johnson will probably get moved.
Yeah,
I imagine I'm wondering if someone will buy the Ben Simmons contract to receive some assets, maybe
yeah,
because it's the last year of that deal.
yeah. I mean
But
Schroeder's on that team, which is wild to me
Schroeder's,
too.
yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Who else is on that team? Somebody else on that. Oh, Dorian Finney-Smith.
Dorian Finney-Smith, I think the Mavericks will try to get him back.
That would be great. I would love
Have a
that.
feeling. Have a feeling. But
I
we'll
would
see.
absolutely love that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
the Trailblazers signed Justin Minaya to a two-way contract. Whoa, yay. Uh,
Yes. Oh my, I've been talking about him since
Go
forever.
back and listen to all 43 episodes before this. You'll hear Dom talk about it. And the Blazers accepted Delano Banton's team option to bring him back as well. I actually like Delano Banton. I think he's fun. Um,
I remember him playing on when I watched the Blazers play the Clippers.
yeah,
Um
some of those like late season we're running our real scrubs out here. He would be like the star of those teams.
yeah, so Trailblazers, I think there's still a big question mark with what they're gonna do because they just drafted Dominic Klingen, right? Can't believe I remembered that.
Donovan.
Oh dang, I thought I was so close.
You said
Donovan
Dominic, and I was like,
Klingen.
who are you talking about?
Donovan Klingen. I mean,
Yeah,
they have like
huge.
Robert Williams,
Gotta trade him.
DeAndre Ayton,
Gotta trade him too.
Jeremy Grant,
Trade him.
so I think
Trade him all.
their off season's not done,
Yeah, for sure.
for sure. Milwaukee Bucks, this was a team that I kind of expected to hear more, but they've been pretty quiet actually. So
Very
DeLon
quiet.
Wright signed a 1-year, $3.3 million deal leaving the Miami Heat.
Hmm.
And Taurean Prince, leaving the Lakers, signed a 1-year deal with the Bucks.
Yeah,
Sad to see him go because he was he's on the Timberwolves before the Lakers, and on the Lakers I don't think he made as big of an impact as he did on the Timberwolves. His 3-point percentage wasn't as good, but that's what happens with every player when they come to Lakers.
yeah.
But he was definitely one of the brighter spots on our wing. So sad to see him go, but happy that he's getting some money and he's a good player and he's definitely an upgrade from someone we'll talk about later.
Yeah, a little quiet, like you mentioned, for the Bucks so far, especially with some of the other Eastern teams. I'm sure we'll talk about. We talked about
Yeah,
the Mikal Bridges trade already for the Knicks. We'll talk about the Sixers. The Bucks want to sit there. I mean, I do like these guys, but they're just kind of like, you know, guys 8 and 9 maybe. Um,
yeah.
whereas they may need a little help up top.
In
But
the rotate, yeah, you need some guys that are going to be in the rotate. Torian Prince will contribute, but like you said, he's going to be behind Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis. Um,
that's the issue, right? Pat Connaughton's like your sixth man. That's not
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's
You should work on that. I feel like Torian Prince is better, but even then, he's still like there should be an upgrade from that. But
right.
maybe their offseason's not done either, so we'll see.
Let's talk about the Houston H-Town Rockets. We didn't do anything
Yeah,
super exciting. We signed Aaron Holiday, 2 years, $10 million deal. Why? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. We got 5 point guards on our roster. Reed Shepard's like 6'3". That guy's basically a point guard. He's a shooter, but he's small. Um, Jalen Green wants the ball. Fred VanVleet, Amon Thompson. What are you there at Holiday for? And then we also accepted Jayshawn Tate's $7.6 million team option to bring him back. So kind of a Rocket legend in our in our adulthood. It feels like
Yeah,
it's been there forever. He was like a 25-year-old undrafted rookie, but he's like 20. I don't know. He's been there like 4 or 5 seasons, and
yeah,
just feels like
uh,
it's been a long time.
yeah. Definitely a fan of the Jayshawn Tate picking up. Aaron Holiday was a bit confusing to me too. I know they need money to spend, but they could have spent it on like a wing or maybe a backup center. Oh, I guess you got Steven Adams this year
Yeah,
and
man.
Sengun. So, you know, I don't know. You got to spend money. So I guess they were like, we want him back. I guess we'll spend the money on him. I guess.
I'm wondering this year, if the Rockets. I'm wondering if they'll experiment without Shingun, some like Jabari Smith at the five, and like
Hmm.
Amon Thompson kind of playing the four, and then like Jalen Green, Reed Shepard, and like Tari Eason or Cam Whitmore thing.
I forgot about Reed Shepard. Oh my God, what do we do on all these
We
guards?
got a lot. We got a lot on this team.
Yeah, how tall is Amin Thompson again?
He's like 6'7". He's like a huge guard, basically. But
Okay, yeah, at the
he's like a
four.
defensive monster, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It could do.
We'll see.
Yeah, we got Minnesota Timberwolves. So Joe
From my
Ingles,
favorite team to yours.
my favorite, really, the Timberwolves. They're up there. They have some. They have like one of my favorite players, but I don't know about the team in total. But yeah. So Minnesota Timberwolves. Joe Ingles leaves the Magic. He signs a 1-year deal. Um, after they declined his $11.6 million team option, which I get. He's not worth 11 million.
He can't play anymore.
Yeah. I mean, he's gonna be
He's
just
old.
yeah. He's just an old three guard and or shooting. Three. He shoots threes. What am I?
God.
What was I trying to say? I'm going crazy. But yeah, I know they're trying to fill in a little bit. Timberwolves had some
Veteran
people leave,
presence. I don't know.
so just
Maybe
have a
this is like a
veteran.
bench guy.
Yeah, I always feel strange about that when you're trying to bring in a veteran presence onto a team, but no one knows him. So it's like, are they really gonna listen
Hey,
to this
what's up, guys?
Australian guy? This Australian guy that can't play? Is Anthony Edwards gonna like listen to him? I don't know.
I
Maybe
listened
he
to
will.
a podcast one time with Joe Ingles on it, and it was tough, man. The accent's killer. I was so
Mm-hmm.
tired of it after like an hour. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. It's a signing I don't hate, actually, the Timberwolves did. They signed PJ Dozier, remember that name, to a 1-year
Yeah,
deal. So he last appeared in the NBA in the 2022-23 season with the Kings after he suffered was it an ACL
I think
tear?
so. Yeah.
He spent last year playing overseas in Serbia, but he was good on the Nuggets. He was like a seventh, eighth rotation
I like
guy.
PJ Dozier.
But yeah,
Give him a chance.
he's a good player. I love his name too. Dozier is such a good name.
It's a cool name. PJ Dozier.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a cool name for sure.
and then Vegas, Las Vegas Strip legend Luca Garza signed a 2-year deal to return. If you
Luka
don't,
Garza looks so weird.
he
I think
looks
about seeing him like he looks like he doesn't look like he looks like a toy.
he look well to me. He looks like a child. Like
He
his face,
does.
he
He
looks so
looks like a
young.
child.
That's too tall.
Yeah.
Because when we walked by him, like I was surprised by how tall he was and how young he looked, and
Yeah.
yeah, but he if you haven't listened to the pod before, we went to Summer League last year. We won't be able to this year, sad. But last year we were walking
Inky
on the strip and we walked by Luca Garza. So that's what we mean by
legend.
legend, Vegas Strip
Legend.
legend.
Yeah. The Heat, they signed legend Thomas Bryant to return. He didn't play at all last year. But he'll be there. And Kevin
Cool.
Love declined his $4 million player option and instead signed a 2-year, $8 million deal. So same value, but a longer term, I guess. Uh,
Cool.
he'll return to the Heat. He feels really old at this point, but he's gotten good minutes. So,
Yeah.
and then the one I think is pretty impactful. Alec Burks signing a 1-year deal, leaving the Knicks. Yeah, Alec Burks had great minutes for the Knicks when their whole team was injured in the playoffs. So if he can give some of that kind of juice off the bench to the Heat, I think that'll be kind of a big deal for them.
Yeah, I like the Alec Burks signing a lot. Although the Heat did lose somebody who I think he's
Oh yeah,
basically replacing,
huge.
which is going to be a big deal. If they were able to keep that guy and Alec Burks, I think it would, it would just make them like the favorite in the East by any means, but it would definitely boost their bench quite a bit. But I like the signing. Alec Burks is a good NBA player. We were saying that during the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now we talk about the Charlotte Hornets, everyone's favorite team. Um, Not just yours or mine, everyone's favorite team.
America's
Uh,
team.
America's team. So they waived Alexei Pokusevsky and Davis
Close.
Bertans.
Nope.
How you say it?
It's Alexej Pokushevsky and
I-
Davis. It's Davis.
Davis Bertans, I believe. I don't believe it's Alexej. I just
It
can't.
is. It's
No,
Alexej.
no one ever says the J in a name like that on the end.
Alexej
I just can't believe
Pokushevsky.
it. Alex Edge. It just sounds
Alex Edge.
Alice Edge.
A superhero.
I'm just gonna call him Poku. They
Poker
waived him.
is
He's,
good.
he's waived. He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
Out of the league.
He's not on the Hornets anymore, so he doesn't matter. But in bigger news, Miles Bridges returns on a 3-year, $75 million deal. No option in this deal, so no player option, no team option. What do you? This is probably like the first kind of bigger deal we're kind of talking about. What do you think
Yeah.
about?
Well, I hate the person.
Yeah.
And Hornets had to spend money, I think, and they did. I don't know, man. The Hornets are gonna be terrible, I think, regardless. Their team's just gonna suck forever. That's like the Hornets path. They do have Brandon Miller, which I like. LaMelo never plays and runs over kids. Miles Bridges beats women. So it's like a team of not people I like.
You did the thing I did last time. It's like LaMelo's just running over kids. He's
Yeah.
he's not even playing basketball.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's hard. This is hard to comment. It's hard to think about the basketball aspect.
It's tough. It's tough to separate it because at a certain point you can't. Like it does matter, you know.
I
So
think it's like, sure, you pay him this much money to be the 11th seed. Great. Like that's where the Hornets will be forever, it feels like.
yeah, I really wish they would just kind of. I think the last time they really tried to get like a superstar, which is ridiculous to look back on, was Gordon Hayward because they gave him just a big contract, but I mean he was barely a star, if that. But I don't understand. I don't know if they are calling people and trying to like just give a ton of money to players who could come to the Hornets, but like, how are you going to compete with Brandon Miller, Mark Williams, players we like?
Yeah.
And then you sign LaMelo to max, and he's never going to play. Sign Miles Bridges, who is so controversial and not even like worth $25 million. Let's be honest. Um, it's like what are you doing? You have Grant Williams, cool.
I
You waived Seth Curry.
forgot Grant Williams is on that team.
It's
Another
like
guy that's like,
I know it's like who is running that? Like I just don't
dude,
get
it
it.
was Michael Jordan. He said, "Man, I hate this damn team."
He's like, man, like, can I just play for this team? And it's like, I'm gonna do better than these kids are doing. Yeah, because they have good young players, but I don't understand why they're insisting on bringing back somebody who just has issues and can't just try to outsource. Like, I think they're just trying to focus on the draft and keeping players. Like, that's not working. It hasn't been working. So try and bring in so there are definitely players who want money. You got money, you have a certain amount. But what I thought was crazy reading about this is to offer Miles Bridges this deal, they had to waive players. So the thing is, they really wanted him to return so much
Come
they had
back.
to like. I'm like, what are you doing? I don't know.
You
Yeah.
know
So you're
who
right.
else offered Miles Bridges?
Clippers.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, I know we are, and I'm gonna be glad. I'm glad I don't have to go watch him now when I go to Clippers games. So
You don't have
that's
to
like
watch
the bright
someone
side.
else.
I know.
The Jazz. Over to Utah. They waived Heat legend Omer Yurtseven. Rip. Just to sign Drew Eubanks to a 2-year, $2 million deal, leaving the Suns. So they said, get that center out of here and get this center in here. And we
Bring him
drafted
in.
Filipowski, the groomed guy. He's a center too.
Yeah.
and they have like they feel like they have like 18 players in their team. Um,
They definitely do. And also they have a lot of centers. Walker Kessler,
mhm.
Drew Eubanks, Filipowski, like you said.
John
John
Collins is on that
Collins
team.
is still there. Yeah.
Laurie Markkinen,
So Laurie
who
Markin,
we'll
who
get
could
to in a
definitely play
second.
a stretch five. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of players. Keontae George, Chris Dunn. Is he still there? I have no idea.
No,
Maybe he's a
Chris
free
Dunn
agent.
left. Chris
Oh,
Dunn
he
left.
left. Okay,
Well,
great.
I put him somewhere. He's here
Okay,
somewhere.
he's here somewhere. We'll talk about Chris Dunn. Jordan Clarkson. Is that guy going to be on the Jazz forever? Or
I guess so.
what's up
I
with
think
that?
he's there. He's gonna
Colin
retire
Sexton.
double
He's on
zero.
that play. On that team.
Yeah.
On that
Isn't
play.
it wild? There's some random players on this team, man.
Random players.
But you know what? At least I will say this, like compared to the Hornets, at least the Utah Jazz are there. It seems there's some sort of plan. They have a lot of draft capital. Sam
Yeah.
Presti is the GM, right?
Nope.
So like
That's the Thunder.
that's what I meant.
Danny
No, it's
Ainge.
Danny Ainge.
Yeah.
I get those two confused because they're always the two GMs everyone talks about. Like those
Mm,
are like the two. I get them confused, but a guy who knows what he's doing. Danny Ainge
right.
knows what he's doing. So I'm not like worried about the Jazz like I would be like the Hornets or something.
Yeah.
What
Uh,
else? There's some
I
more. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't mention Tavion Kinsey signing a two-way contract.
Yes.
He was on their G League roster. I looked into that a little bit. So yeah, a little inner promotion. So that's nice to see. And then yeah, Larry Markkinen, we mentioned a little bit. He seems to be on the trade block, one of the bigger targets now in free agency. He's been rumored to a couple places. I've heard Warriors, which is
Hmm.
interesting. I know it was the Thunder for a long time, but I think they've kind of moved on from that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, he, was got there in the Donovan Mitchell trade and became an all-star. So, I mean, if they traded Donovan Mitchell for Lauri Markkinen and a bunch of picks and then trade Lauri Markkinen for a bunch of picks, like that's great. So
Yeah. I totally agree. Another team I
just
heard.
fix your goddamn jerseys
Oh my God. Just wear the purple mountain ones forever,
and
please.
make your
Come
like
on.
arena look like that instead of the like neon yellow and white and black. It looks
Yeah, what are you
weird.
do? What are you doing? Yeah, come on. No, I
Come
guarantee
on.
you, no one likes it.
Go back to
No,
the don't actually do this, but you remember the when Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert they had like the orange and black like gradient ones. I
yeah,
didn't like those either.
I didn't like those as much. Better than what it is now, but not that much better.
Felt like an
Uh,
alternate jersey that they wore all the time.
yeah, literally, like the Pacers wearing their yellow jersey
Uh,
all the time.
oh,
But I refuse to talk about that jersey. But another team I heard I was reading about that is interested in Larry Markkinen, which maybe not so much now because they're seems like they're going into DeMar DeRozan. Was the Kings,
ah,
which I kind of like that because he could space the floor, but I don't know
yeah.
how they would get him. That's the only thing, you know.
Harrison Barnes, baby. You're a Utah
Oh,
Jazz.
you're
Congratulations.
gonna get rid of Harrison Barnes, really? Really? I don't
Hey,
think
they
so.
got they got Kevin Herter. They got some white guys they like in Utah.
Oh, you're right. They would, wouldn't they? Talk about white guys. Washington Wizards. Well, it's funny because he's not even the next guy I'm going to talk about. But I'll say it now. Let's talk about white guys. Washington Wizards. Jonas Valanciunas signs a 3-year, $30 million deal, leaving the
Uh,
Pelicans. I know I was supposed to talk about that last about the Wizards, but I was like, I can't talk about Landry Shamet.
how do you feel about Big Val going to
I
DC?
so I understand.
His career's in ruin.
I know. Well, I understand why. It's because of the money,
10
obviously.
million. I feel like he could have made 10 million in a lot of places. That's not a lot of money,
I don't think he
NBA
could have.
wise.
Well, okay, you know what it probably was? I bet he was getting a lot of 1 or 2 year deals, and he was like, "Wait, you can give me a 3-year deal, 30
Mm,
million? I'll take that." You know, I feel like he maybe seeing the writing on the wall. By no means is he a bad NBA player. He's very good, but I think the type of player he is isn't in. It's just not in demand as much as it used to be.
yeah, very.
Um,
It's hard to fit him into a team comp because he's so
yeah.
specific at what he does. Big brute down in the paint. It's tough on, excuse me, on pacing and teams that have guards that want to drive and things like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. So, I don't love it. There are rumors that he would go to the Lakers, which I would have been a big fan of. Although he can space the floor a little bit better than some other center. Like we have Jackson Hayes. He could at least Valanciunas has made threes in his career. Um, Although I don't think they would really be running him with AD. But yeah, it seems like he just really wanted something that would give him money guaranteed. And I mean, you got to do what's best for you and your family. Yeah,
I forgot about that guy.
yeah, I did too.
Well, what
Uh,
else happened for the
and the
Wizards?
Wizards. So the Wizards decline Landry Shamet's $11 million option, and he will join the free agent market.
Hmm.
Obviously, I think he's not a $11 million player.
How dare
Um,
you?
but he will find someone because I think he's a good like end of the bench player. He was good on the Suns.
Yeah.
Although I think he got his
Landry Shamet has been on so many teams too.
yeah, although he did get his life ended when Aaron Gordon just postered him when he was on the Suns. I think that was his decline. And yeah, I
Okay.
just sounded so sad. That was his
That was
decline.
his decline.
And
The
one
Sham
more
God.
player, Rashawn Holmes declined his $12.8 million player option to sign a 2-year, $25.9 million deal to return, but only $250,000 of his contract is guaranteed next year.
I don't even understand
I don't
what
understand
this
that
is.
either. I was going to ask you. You don't
Yeah.
know? I don't know.
I think the idea was you take the extra year. I think the guarantee probably has to do with like the amount you play and stuff.
Yeah,
Um, and I think the Wizards did it to be a trade asset to match some salary or something. I
gotcha.
don't know. That guy, it feels like a couple of years ago, he was a really good backup center for the Kings, and then he just fell out of the league. Like, I don't know what
Yeah,
happened. So,
he ended up on the Mavericks, and then he ended up on the Wizards.
what a destiny.
Yeah,
He moved across the country from left to right.
interesting. Yeah, but Wizards are another team that has like quite a few centers now. Like Rashawn Holmes, I guess he could play the four. Valanciunas, just you just drafted Alex Sarr. Maybe I've never watched Alex Sarr, so I don't know what his game is.
Alexar.
Maybe Valanciunas, his game is like that, so he can try to mentor him or something.
Didn't trade Kuzma.
That is something they need to do. And Jordan Poole's still there. Let's not forget. And also
We never
Tyus
will.
Jones, is he a free agent? He's
He's a
still a
free
free
agent.
agent. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll talk about
he's
that a
out
little bit
there.
later, I
He's in
guess.
the
Yeah.
abyss.
Tell me about San Antonio though.
San Antone didn't extend the qualifying offer to Dominic Barlow. Who cares?
Are you kidding? I love Dominic Barlow. I
uh,
always talk about him.
they they also traded Devonte Graham and a second round pick to the Hornets. This just happened, and he was actually waived from the Hornets and is now a free agent. So, he used to be really good on the Hornets. He was
Yeah.
like their starting guard. And he again just another guy that just kind of fell out the league out of nowhere.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I think honestly, a lot of these players we're talking about a few years ago were in the rotation. I think it's the talent of the league has just gotten so much better, if
yeah,
I'm just
and
being honest.
Devonte
Yeah,
Graham's another one of those guys that like good shooter, okay playmaker, but he's like 6 feet.
yeah, I was gonna say he's
And to
super
be like
short.
6 feet tall, you got to be like elite to
Elite,
be
elite.
like,
You got to
yeah,
do something elite. Like the shortest guy I can think of that's on a team is Jose Alvarado, but he's like an elite defender.
yeah.
He is like
I mean, even
gets under
Steph
your skin.
is like 6'2".
Yeah, yeah. That
Or
guy really sucks.
this next guy that's like 6 feet tall, that's Chris Paul signing a 1 year, $11+ million deal, leaving the Warriors. They waived his $30 million guarantee and just let him go to the Spurs for free after trading Jordan Poole for him. Not great. I
Not
mean,
a
I know
great
Jordan
look.
Poole had the season he just had, but um, what you traded him for is already gone. So
Yep.
not amazing for them. But great for the Spurs, I think. Great for Wemby. Great for not Rob Dillingham. That's the guy that went to the Wolves. Stephon Castle.
Yeah.
Great for that mentoring the point guard role. I'd be surprised if he starts. I feel like they may again just have him miss that mentor role and play like spot minutes off the bench, but we'll see. I think it's good for them and for development. Chris Paul and Greg Popovich like yelling at them how to play basketball. It's good for a young team to have, I think.
Yeah, I think out of a lot of moves this offseason, I think that this is a really like underrated one.
Hey,
As
we'll get there.
oh yeah, you're right. But just the fact that Chris Paul is for the end of his career, who knows how many more years he has left, and he probably could have signed a minimum with like the 76ers, the
Right.
Lakers, the whoever, you know
A
what I mean?
contender or whatever.
A contender. But instead he signs with the
But you said
Spurs,
the Lakers,
which
so
hey, we'll get there. Hey, we'll get there. So, I don't hate. I don't hate it for the Spurs. I imagine, like you said, he'll probably come off the bench. I like that role for him playing like 15 minutes a game, just really trying to, probably go out there, maybe get some like mid-range shots, mostly just assisting, trying to get people moving. So
He's like, Wimby,
uh,
you gotta win me a ring, Wimby, please.
yeah, but
Yeah.
he goes up to him. He literally like holds onto his knee because that's where he is, how tall he is. He's like, hold on, like please, Wimby, you're my last hope. You're my last chance.
I've been trying to ring chase. It's not working.
Talk about ring chasers. Let's talk about the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
You like that? As a good,
Yeah,
that was all
I like
right.
it.
You
I
know, the
like it.
biggest ring chaser of them all, Colin Gillespie.
That's yeah,
Gillespie. I know I
yeah.
said it wrong.
I
Uh,
was looking at it and I was like, did I type that correctly? I don't
yeah.
know.
It's a dude named Colin. He signed a two-way deal leaving the Nuggets. Aw. And then Damian Lee, Warriors legend, signed a
Yeah,
1-year deal to return. I guess he's just gonna sign 1-year deals
yeah.
and not play,
So
I
many
guess.
people sign 1 year deals. So interesting.
It is. Bol also another one that signed a 1-year deal to return. Monte Morris signed a 1-year deal, leaving the Timberwolves. This makes sense because I mean now the Timberwolves have so many guards with
Yeah.
getting Rob Dillingham.
Yeah, he
So
didn't really play a lot for them.
yeah,
But I feel like he could
um,
be good for the Suns if he can remember how to play. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I like him quite a bit. I know for whatever reason the Wolves decided to play Jordan McLaughlin over him, but I think
Good
he's just
Mac.
been there longer, so that's probably why. But good for Monte Morris. The real MVP,
Yeah.
the most underrated signing. Mason Plumlee leaves the Clippers and signs a 1-year deal, $3.3 million
Who
with the
needs Drew
Suns.
Eubanks?
Yeah, who needs Drew when you can get Mason Plumlee?
Plum Dog Billionaire. That's what they call him, I think.
Good for him.
No, no.
I'm happy for him.
Only me. I don't know what he calls him.
Yeah. And then this was really interesting. Royce O'Neal signed a 4-year, $44 million deal to return. Is Royce O'Neal worth $11 million a year, Damon?
Um, I think I think without context, the answer is no. I think when you think about the Suns and the roster and how expensive Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal are, they don't have a lot of flexibility at free agency. So when you have somebody on your roster already, like they had Royce O'Neal when they traded him from the Nets, it's just one of those deals you kind of have to do because otherwise you're going to lose him for nothing, and you can't sign another player to a similar deal because they weren't already on your roster. So, ideally he provides some spacing and some perimeter defense, and those are things you need around the big three that they have there. Um, like 2 years from now, this could look really bad, but I think for now, if they're still trying to contend, it's not terrible for the modern NBA. You seem like you really hate it though.
My only question is 4 years.
That's yeah, he's like 30
It's a
already.
long time.
It's a long deal.
Yeah. It's just a long deal. That's what I think is a little wild. Like 2 years, 22 million, I wouldn't bat an eye. 4 years, 44 million is
And I think he's been declining too since his days with the Jazz. Every year I feel like he gets a little worse. So
yeah. Yeah,
we'll see.
exactly. So, I mean the Suns are kind of screwed either way, if
It's
I'm
like
being
it's kind of like PJ Tucker getting this, $11 million deal at age 38.
I, I think it's a little bit better than
It's a little
that,
better than that,
but
but
yeah, but
it's
not
in the
that
same
much
vein.
better.
Like when you made the deal 3 years ago, it didn't seem that bad. But when you get to 38-year-old PJ Tucker, you're like,
Yeah.
why did we sign him to a
Yeah,
3-year
I think
deal?
you make a good point. I think for the next 2 years, good deal. And then when that third year comes around, we're gonna be like, oh my God, we got to figure out how to get this guy
We
off
still
this
have to
team.
pay this guy $11 million
Yeah,
dollars.
who is this guy? Wait, is he the guy on the end of the bench? Oh God, that guy? That guy's still here? Um, yeah, interesting. So, tell me about Indiana.
Indiana, they only made two signings, but I thought they were both interesting. One of them
Yeah,
was James Wiseman signing a 2-year deal, leaving the Pistons. So he could contend for some backup center minutes with Isaiah Jackson, perhaps. I think that's pretty much all the bigs they have on their roster because we'll get to Jalen Smith later, but he left. And then Obi Toppin re-signed 4 years, $60 million to return. Good value, I think, for how good he was in the playoffs. Him and TJ McConnell are like their bench duo. And I think there's a lot of worry that he would leave and or like he would get a bigger contract and the Pacers wouldn't want to match it. So I think, this is fine. I like it for them.
Yeah. I like the Obi Toppin one. James Wiseman one I was raising an eyebrow at, but I understand because I like Isaiah Jackson quite a bit.
Hmm.
James Wiseman, though, is not a bad basketball player. I think he gets a lot of flack because he was the number 2 overall pick. So,
In between
understandably
Ant and
so.
LaMelo.
Yeah, it's like, obviously
He hasn't run over any kids
happens.
yet, so
Yeah, yeah. So he's better
is
than
that going
that.
for him?
Um, but he's not a max extension signed player or anything of that means. But yeah, like you mentioned, I think, Zay Jackson needs to sit out a week or two, or for whatever reason, James Wiseman pops in. I think that's
Yeah.
really good for them. And then Obi Toppin, great player, like you said, loved him in the
James
playoffs.
Wiseman looks so strong at Summer League. That's all
He
I
he
remember
looked like a
from.
grown man. I literally think about
Yeah.
that all the time.
I think about it often.
How like just older and experienced he looked compared to everybody
And
else. And
he's
I think
not
it's just
old.
like
He's young.
he's super, yeah. I think he really took to heart when he got drafted and we're like, oh, he's skinny, he's scrawny. He's like, oh yeah, you think I'm scrawny? He's like, we're sitting next to his family, like, oh, that boy ain't scrawny. And it's like, okay, yeah, no, he's a grown man. We get it now. We get it now.
Did I tell you I have a student at my school named James Wiseman?
Wait, how tall is he?
He's not 7'1".
Oh,
I'm
okay. I was
not.
gonna say, I wait. He might be on the Indiana Pacers. You might be teaching James
I guess
Wiseman.
I shouldn't divulge first and last name of a student, but it's like,
Yeah, I'll find him. I'm pretty sure there's a couple more people named that.
right, yeah, I don't know. It's not a
Um,
big deal.
yeah. Well, you know what else is? I'm gonna say this is a big deal. Detroit Pistons.
Oh,
Detroit
I also thought about
basketball.
doing that when you said Detroit Pistons.
I have been I've
Detroit.
been thinking about that this whole time.
This whole podcast.
The whole podcast, like, what can I say? I'm just well, they did a good thing first. They declined Evan Fournier's $19 million team option. Good for them because he's
I
not worth
remember when
that.
Evan Fournier signed that deal. It was like a 4-year, $80 million deal. I
Yeah. Do you
remember when
remember
that
why?
happened
Remember why?
because he was poking for the Celtics
No, 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 no. He was cooking for
for
France
France.
in the Olympics. He led them to gold. I'm sorry, silver. Him and Gobert were like going off.
They said, "Wow, he's
Uh,
awesome."
Yeah, and then they saw, and then they're like, "What in the? What did we just do?" And then he didn't play at all. Yeah, so it opens a total of $50 million total in cap room for the team in the summer. They're using a lot of this cap to take on bad contracts and acquire draft assets. I think you mentioned that earlier.
Hmm.
Like the Ben Simmons, they might try to just buy that and get some draft assets. Assigning one of our favorite players, one of our top moments
Yeah,
from last year. Malik Beasley signs a 1-year deal, $6 million contract, leaving the Milwaukee Bucks. So I mentioned earlier with Taurean Prince, they basically replaced Malik Beasley with Taurean Prince, which is an upgrade. Um, and now Malik Beasley's on the Pistons. Guess what? You need shooting. You're getting shooting with Malik
they
Beasley.
finally getting some shooting.
Getting some shooting. If you want a defense, probably not the guy. If you want the guy's controller to die on you while he's playing, you got the right guy. Another player whose controller dies usually in the playoffs.
Oh,
Tobias. Oh, you like that? That was a good
that was
dig.
good.
Tobias Harris signed a 2-year, $52 million deal, leaving the 76ers.
Theoretically, a shooter.
Theoretically a shooter. This was no surprise that he was not going to be on the 76ers again because he was scoreless in a elimination
I was
game.
going to ask you, do you
Playoffs.
know how many points he scored in Game 6?
Yeah, I know because I watched it and I was like, I don't think Tobias Harris has done anything.
Like, wait, did he play?
Yeah, no, no, he
Did
didn't.
he
No,
check
he
in?
didn't. He played 30 minutes and he didn't make any points. Cool, for sure, for sure.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, so so they're getting him on a $26 million deal. This guy, it's crazy.
Former Piston, Tobias
Former
Harris.
Piston, so he's going back. This guy has I like the best luck because he's getting these giant contracts and he's not playing like up to them, but people are like, come on, he's worth that every time. And I love it for him. And
26 million is crazy.
I don't think he's not a bad NBA player, but he's not $26 million. But again, like we're talking about the Rockets, like you have space you have to use, like money you have to spend. He's definitely not worth
Yeah.
that much, but you needed someone to shoot. He's has experience. Maybe you wish it was a player with a more successful experience, but at least he does have it with the 76ers playoff experience.
I'm really excited for all the Tobias chants in Detroit next year. It's gonna be awesome.
That's what I live for.
Toby, Toby.
Toby, Detroit basketball, Toby. But really excited for this next guy, Cade Cunningham. He signed a 5-year, $226 million max rookie extension to
Ding, ding,
return.
ding, ding, ding.
So we talked a lot about the young players on the Pistons, a lot of bright spots. Cade Cunningham being one of them.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, can't shoot, but he's a great playmaker, great rebounder, a triple double threat when he's healthy. Um, Obviously, he hasn't played as much as we'd want to see him play, but hopefully he gets healthier and is able to play more.
right.
And that's it for the Pistons so far. Who knows what else they'll do? They can go kind of crazy.
They can do a little
Oh,
bit.
oh, they're gonna go crazy.
Oh my! I hope YouTube gives that to me as one of the thumbnail options.
Okay, if we do it the whole time, it'll definitely do it.
It, there we go. That's the strategy.
Mhm.
Another team in the Central Division, Chicago Bulls. Torrey Craig accepted his $2.8 million player option to return. Yeah, I think that's a must after blowing out self lob. You got to accept the money you can get, otherwise he wasn't getting signed anywhere. Jalen Smith signing 3 years, 27 million, leaving the Pacers. I see you holding it over there. That's a good deal for him. 9 million a year. He was on the Suns, drafted a little high at 10. Never really got an opportunity there. So decent in spot minutes for the Pacers, I think. Kind of lost his place in the rotation in the playoffs to Isaiah Jackson mostly. And the Bulls have kind of initiated a rebuild, kind of. So might as well get another young guy. And then Patrick Williams signed a 5-year, $90 million deal to return. Um, I'm trying to remember the draft. I think it was Cade Cunningham, and then Jalen Green, and then Evan Mobley, and then Patrick Williams. Maybe I
He
don't
was
know.
number 4. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I just don't remember if it was that draft. No, that Scotty Barnes was number 4 in that draft. Um, was he after LaMelo? Was it Anthony Edwards, James
I was gonna
Wiseman,
say it might be.
LaMelo, Patrick Williams? Because that's
It was 2020. Fourth overall pick in the 2020 draft. Yeah, he was after LaMelo.
uh,
5, Isaiah
yikes.
Okoro. 6, Onyeka Okongwu.
7 Killian Hayes.
7 was, oh, what is this showing me now? Oh, it's just showing me. Okay, it's not showing me in order.
7 was
Oh
Killian Hayes, I
God.
think.
Oh God. Why isn't it showing me
And
the
then
order?
Halliburton will be down there at like 12, which is
Yeah, the NBA app is now opening, so I don't know what is happening right now. My phone is just going berserk.
we interrupt this podcast.
We ended up this podcast for me not being able to navigate.
This is the entertainment value we provide to our audience.
Why is it not just showing me the order? It just says draft selections.
Do you
Oh,
want me
here
to
we go.
look?
I got it.
Okay.
Sorry. Killian Hayes was 7. Obi Toppin 8. Denny
Mm,
Avdia 9. Jalen Smith 10. So same draft class.
same draft, yeah.
So they're going to be on the same team now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. Tyrese Halliburton was 12.
Neesmith at 14.
Sure was.
Yeah.
God,
Draft expert.
Alex Edge, number 17.
Yeah, that's why he wore 17. Now he's in free agency.
Good for him.
And we already
And we're back. And we're
we,
back.
we
Okay,
already talked
cool.
about DeRozan being out and about in free agency. Chicago, trading Alex Russo for Josh Giddey and getting some young guys in. No anything on the Levine front so far. They tried to trade him to the Pistons, and he was like, "I'm going to tear my ACL and get surgery on it instead." So,
Yeah. Also, did you hear about they tried to get him on the Warriors? Like
oh,
there
really?
is that the trade deadline, I believe. It was
Mm,
supposed to be like Chris Paul and maybe like Moses Moody and some picks and then Levine, but the Warriors were like, we don't want to take on Levine's contract with his history. So now they lost. Yeah, they didn't get him and they have nothing. Or they lost Chris Paul for nothing. So that's that. I'm just saying that was a trade. But yeah,
that's that.
That was
So
that.
yeah, Demar, we already talked about him meeting with the Kings. Perhaps there will be other teams he'll get signed and trade to. I hope that happens because you got Kobe White, Josh Giddey now. It's like your backcourt of the future theoretically. So, and Demar's a guy that likes the ball in his hand, so get him somewhere where he doesn't take that away from your young players. And get rid of Vucevic. I don't know why you extended him. Get him out.
Yeah, for real. DeMar DeRozan, Levine, Vucevic, just
What
ship them out.
man? Remember
Get
when the
some
Bulls
draft
had Laurie
capital.
Markkinen and Wendell Carter and the pick that became Franz Wagner? That was cool. And then they
Oh
traded for
yeah,
Vucevic.
we love that.
Yay. Anyways.
Talking about the Magic, since we're talking about the Magic, let's
Yeah.
talk about the Orlando Magic. We'll talk. Well, I think they're going to come back because I like a lot of what they did actually this year. So they declined Mo Wagner's $8 million team option and signed him to a 2-year, $22 million deal to bring him back.
Got to keep Franz happy, you know.
Got to keep well, and also, I mean, Mo
He's
plays very
skilled.
good. He's a
Yeah.
good player.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, good young player.
He screams at people.
Yeah, we love that. He's German. We get it. Gary Harris signed a 2-year, $15 million deal to return. Good.
Why is Gary Harris still being paid money in the NBA?
Well,
Does he do anything?
he's a good player. I think he's a good
Oh,
player.
okay.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll take your word for
Sure.
it. But I like this because he's not a veteran, he's not old by any means, but he is a little bit older, so he can kind of be there. He's been there a bit, so he can kind of guide the younger players like
Yeah.
Jalen Suggs on this team and
Just
whatnot.
feels like the Magic somehow have 18 guards in their roster. I don't know.
They do.
It's like they had Anthony Black and Jet Howard, and they didn't even play last year.
Yeah, and they got some more we'll talk about in a little bit.
Mhm.
Goga or Giga, that we like to call him, Batiste. Why I
But
can't say
Batadze.
Batadze? Why do I want to say Batiste?
But
Batiste.
but
Batadze. He signed a 3-year, $25 million deal to return. Why?
well, I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either.
Who will win the backup center duel? Will it be Mo Wagner or Goga Batadze?
It's just quite a bit of money, but I guess they had money they needed to spend.
Don't we all?
Don't we?
No.
I'll take some of yours. I'll take some. Give me some of yours. I'll have what he's having. Jonathan Isaac, a player we've talked about, we like, just has some
I like
injury
him on the
issues.
court.
Yeah,
Dude's weird off the court, man.
he's really. I don't know
Yeah,
anything else.
he's like I don't know. He's like a religious cult leader or something. I don't know. He got a lot going on.
Oh, that's weird. Well,
I
on
saw
the
a video of
court,
him on Twitter the other day shooting at the gun range, saying "Happy 4th of July." I was
well,
like,
I
okay.
it's actually crazy how many people I know went to the gun range on 4th of July. So
Wild.
yeah, and one of them wasn't Jonathan Isaac. Crazy. Well,
Whoa.
he signed a 5-year, $84 million deal to return. Um, Good value, long contract, but he's still pretty young. As long as he stays healthy, he's a good defender.
That's a tough ask.
That's a tough ask, though. It is.
Brother's legs are hurt all the time.
Yeah, it's a bit long of a contract, but we'll see what happens with that. The two big signings are here. Franz Wagner
Franz.
signs. I'm in a perpetual yawn in the back of my
Yeah, I'm
mouth.
like, what's
Can you
going
hear
on?
it? You're like,
I just hear like
oh, oh, get out. There you go. Um,
cramping, yawning. What is it? What can he? What
I
can't he do?
I can do everything. Franz Wagner signs a 5-year, $224 million max rookie extension. So the deal is up to $269 million if he makes an all NBA team. So we will see if he's
Franz
able
Wagner.
to make that. And then the big signing that we
Dun, 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 dun,
kind of mentioned
dun,
earlier,
dun, dun. Hey,
one of our favorite players of all time, one of the best NBA players ever to step on a court, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope signs a 3-year, $66 million deal, leaving the Nuggets.
huge.
The last year of
Huge.
the deal has a player option.
Huge. 22 mil a year. You think KCP is worth 22 mil a year at 30 something years old?
I think that he is probably worth a little bit less than that, but teams will pay him that. You know what I mean? Like I'm very happy for him.
Don't talk to me or my wife unless your name is Contagious.
I've been trying to find that shirt since I found it. I can't find it. I have to make it myself now, I guess. But like I said, I think that he is a player that is probably worth like 18 million, but teams
Yeah.
will pay him up to 22 million.
Yeah, it's a big loss for the Nuggets, I think, first and foremost, who are not even on our free agent news because they haven't done anything except lose a player.
Yeah,
So big blow to them, especially with how good the West is getting. We still have a couple more teams to talk about. And for the Magic, their big issue in the playoffs, shooting. KCP can shoot the ball, so that's
yeah,
good.
that's
And
what you need.
KCP and Jalen Suggs, that's a defensive backcourt to haunt the opponent's nightmares. So
Yeah,
that'll
I
be a
think
fun team to
it's
watch.
definitely an upgrade from Joe Ingles too. Who I guess you're trying to because
Joe
you
Ingles
want
shouldn't have been playing.
he shouldn't have been on the Magic, but you were trying to get a shooting on your team, right?
Play Jet Howard. That guy shoots the ball.
Um, yep, I
You good,
agree.
man? You good over there?
Yeah, well, my friend, shout out Schuster, who I'm going to see Blink-182 with. He's
Yeah.
trying to call me, and the thing is, my desktop when I get calls spazzes out, and then it
Ah,
turns off. So I'm telling him stop calling me. Like I
stop.
can't talk
No
right
more.
now. And he's just telling me about parking, and we about parking anyways.
Got it.
It's yeah, that's what that
Shout
was.
out
I wouldn't
Schuster.
shout out. Would not have been on my
Not
phone if
even a
it
name.
wasn't important. That's his last name. His first name's Andrew, but I know way too many Andrews. So
You said I'm not calling you that.
I'm not. I'm not going. Nope. Nope.
uh,
Um. But yeah.
look,
Also, well, shout out. He is a Nuggets fan too. So
you lost KCP. You lost one today.
hey, I'll
Lost a
pour
real
some
one.
out. I'll pour some out for you at the
Pistons
concert.
legend.
Let's talk about a team with a really bright future.
The Thunder, yeah. I want to start with legend Buddy Boheim signing an Exhibit 10 contract with the Thunder leaving the Pistons. I didn't even know what an Exhibit 10 contract was, but basically it's like a 1 year, not guaranteed minimum. So it's like the worst contract you can sign. It
That
can
was
be
the
con
that was the
what?
closest I ever gotten to spitting water out all over my keyboard.
I saw it. I saw it. Um, yeah, they can be converted the two ways. So shout out Buddy Boheim. I
Shout out.
guess. A couple deals that I thought were interesting. So the Thunder declined Aaron Wiggins' $2 million team option, great value, to instead secure him on a 5 year, $47 million deal. So they declined the team option to bring him back longer term. Obviously, he'll make more next year, but should he have a really good season next year, now he won't make even more in the long run. So they're kind of like securing their guys for the future without
Yeah,
having hopefully pay them too much. Um, Same thing with Isaiah Joe. He had a $2.1 million team option that they declined to sign a 4 year, $48 million deal. So two rotational players for them in the playoffs that are going to be coming back and part of the team long term. So that's nice. And then the big deal they made, Isaiah Hartenstein signing a 3 year, $87 million deal, leaving the Knicks. So the issue that the Thunder were poised with in the playoffs, as well as a lot of the season, size, rebounding. He does both of those things pretty well. I do wonder, will they run him and Chet together? And if so, how much will they do that? I don't imagine it'll be their starting lineup, but like then you're paying Isaiah Hartenstein $29 million to come off the bench, which would be a little wild. Obviously, the Knicks trading for Mikal Bridges and all that, they didn't have this amount of money to offer him. So go get your money, Isaiah Hartenstein. And this is a big deal for the Thunder. They were already the 1 seed. Most of their team is very young. You imagine they will pretty much all get better next year. Then you add this to address some of the issues that they faced in the playoffs. I mean, what do you think? What do you think here?
I like it a lot. I will we'll talk about it a little bit later as well, but I think the Thunder this is a class act of how to run an off season, I think. You see what you did last year. You did very well. You address your issues. Shooting, you need more shooting. Defending, you got a guy that can't do that. Get rid of him. Bring in a guy who does do that.
Hmm.
One of the best in the league. You can't rebound. You can't box out. You get the guy who almost single-handedly got the Knicks into the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
Obviously, he had a lot of help, but he was a big part of that. And then you keep around these young guys you drafted really well. And I mean, I
I'll
see
have you know Isaiah Joe was waived by the 76ers like 2 years ago.
yeah, which is okay, so even crazier. And he's a player in 2 years' time. I could see him being worth like 20 million. He could be like a KCP.
You're
You
right.
know what I mean? So you're locking him in for 4 years for 12 million. Which is really good. And Aaron Wiggins is very good. 5 year 57 is a little bit less than 10 million a year.
Mhm.
Um, which I'm sure he'll be worth a little bit more than that. So in the long run. So they are doing a really good job so far this offseason. Um, how do you feel? Do you think there's more moves to still make for them?
Um, the Thunder are going to be in the position to be the 1 seed for like the next 10 years. It's
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy? They were like
Like they're
they were
so
like
good.
fighting for the play-in like not this past year, but the year before.
Yeah.
They didn't make it, and now they're like gonna be top four for
Everyone
sure.
is so young on their team and they're
And
so
so
good.
good. Isn't that crazy? God.
Their team is going to be really good for a long time.
Yeah,
Um,
scary.
yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do next year. I kind of like that they didn't do any deals at the deadline, really, and they went into the playoffs and said, "Let's see, what happens." And they said, "Okay, that's what happened." Like you said, let's address that now.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so
It's patience. I think that's the biggest thing that a GM can learn from Sam Presti.
Sam,
There we go.
Sam
Uh,
Presti, GM and Legend. They still also have like 50,000. They have like 4 draft picks in the upcoming draft or something stupid.
yeah, it's crazy. But it's patience is I think a big part of this.
Patience is a virtue.
Also, wait, is Gordon Hayward gone or is he still
He's gone.
there?
He's gone.
Was
Yeah,
he
he's gone.
waived? Did we talk about that or
I think
something?
he was in the last year of his deal and they traded for him.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
I could look that up a little bit later.
he'll probably walk into the sunset.
Yeah. A player who's not going to walk into the sunset anytime soon. Donovan Mitchell. We're talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. Donovan Mitchell signed a 3 year, $150.3 million extension. The last year of this deal has a player option. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of decisions having to be made in Cleveland about which direction to go. Do you build around like Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, get rid of Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen? Is that still what's going to happen? What do you think? How do you feel about this deal?
I'm surprised. I for
Yeah,
sure thought he was going to leave.
yeah.
I didn't think he was going to be a Cav for a long term. Maybe it's because of the Mikal Bridges trade. The
Hmm.
New York's locking in on that. I know New York has been a destination for him. He's from New York. Um, so now that that happened, he's like, well, I'm not going to the Nets. Look at that team. So he's like, yeah, I got a pretty good thing going in Cleveland. I feel like part of this too could be, like I wouldn't say Donovan Mitchell is quite like a superstar player. Like he's probably like a top 15, 20, somewhere in there, in the NBA. This feels like a we'll let you have some word, some control kind of signing. Like, we'll let you LeBron us or Giannis us or whoever us a little bit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, and I know we talked about this several episodes ago, but Darius Garland mentioned if this happens, get me out. So I feel like they have to because he has acknowledged himself that him and Donovan Mitchell don't work the best together. He doesn't play the best with Donovan Mitchell because he needs the ball. Donovan Mitchell needs the ball. They're both small guards that don't play a ton of defense, which makes sense. I mean, it's true. So
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what happens there. Um, where they could send Darius Garland, still a young guard. He's already made an all-star team. Um, Mobley and Allen, maybe they try to work it out to play both of them together because I think that can work. It's just a spacing thing.
hmm,
They haven't had a three that fills the space properly. I guess Masters was kind of that last year, but um, and Evan Mobley, I feel like his range has been getting a little longer, so maybe he gets to the 3-point shooting eventually. Maybe we'll see. And Kenny Atkinson worked with Jared Allen, Karis LeVert in Brooklyn, so maybe he can unlock something there. Maybe
yeah,
maybe they just want to give it a go with a new coach, see if
yeah.
anything changes, and then if not, then they blow it up. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's the next step. I wouldn't say maybe that, but I would say picking a direction would be better. Definitely want to see what you could get back from Darius Garland. Okay, we'll take them. The Lakers will take them. We'll take them. Okay.
Well, yeah,
Well,
fine,
fine,
fine. We'll give you
fine.
Colin Castleton. God.
God, if you're gonna beg, it's fine. Well, it was so funny is when I was looking up, right, adding notes to this spreadsheet just before we started potting, I did run across an article like Darius Garland deal to the Lakers, and I didn't read it. I was like, that's not gonna happen. So, I was like, why do they always try and? Isn't that crazy? That's how they do that. But I agree with you. I didn't think it was gonna happen. I really thought they were definitely going to go with the younger guy, Darius Garland, the one who played in the playoffs. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was injured for 3 of those games against the Celtics. Seems like he has been having some injury issues. Didn't he not qualify for an All-Star appearance
Yeah,
this
he
year?
missed a lot of the towards the end of the season.
Yeah, so it's a lot of money to give, but like you said, maybe they're trying to let him feel like the captain more or less of this team, and
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what would you definitely want to get some defense around him. First person I think is like it would have been really cool if they got DeJounte Murray. I think him and Donovan Mitchell would have been really good together.
That's
But
what they thought about Trae Young.
yeah, I know. And then I'm like, they're all Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young are very similar, kind of, to me. I would have Donovan Mitchell over Trae Young in a heartbeat, but
Yeah.
um,
DeJounte
yeah,
Murray also like stopped playing defense and when he got to Atlanta, I don't know why. Like
yeah,
he just
maybe the
didn't. He said
coaching or
Popovich isn't telling me anymore, so I don't
yeah,
care anymore.
Popovich isn't screaming at me. Okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore. But yeah, we'll see what the Cavaliers do. New coach. I feel like there's still some more stuff they have to do. Because they have Strus, they have Niang, Okoro, and that's
Forgot
really
about
it.
George Niang. Don't forget about
Yeah.
Dean Wade. Come on now.
Okay, you're right. You're right. You're
Put some
right.
respect on his name.
Honorable mention, best moment of the year last year for
Yeah.
sure.
Don't forget about
And
Matthew Dellavedova.
that guy's not playing NBA
He's not
basketball
an
anymore.
NBA.
Yeah, I
He's
know he's
not.
not. I know for sure he's not. There's no way you could convince me.
Don't
I
forget
remember when
about
I.
Marcus Morris, who was on that team last year.
Oh my God, he was. Oh, he's on the 76ers?
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, he is. Okay. I know for sure he is.
I
Okay,
think
cool.
they were gonna offer him, but then they didn't because another guy they signed today that we'll get to.
Oh. Oh, sounds
Oh,
good. Well, tell me about America's least favorite championship team of all time.
uh, yes, Wick Grousbeck and the Boston Celtics. Like we mentioned, they're putting the franchise up for sale. What did they do this offseason? They just brought everyone back. Luke Cornett, 1 year deal. Get him back in here. Xavier Tillman, 2 year deal. We liked him a little bit. Derek White signing a 4 year, $125.9 million deal. Huge, huge deal, by the way. Like I read the numbers, I'm like, oh, that's a big number, and then I do the math in my head, and I'm like, oh, that's like $30+ million a year. Wow. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
and the last year the deal has a player option as well. And I think it was like, are they going to be able to afford to pay him? Probably not, in the long term, but they're going to pay him now. And Jason Tatum signed a 5 year, $314 million super max extension, the new largest deal in NBA history, because of course the salary cap continues to rise. So every year we'll basically have a new largest deal in NBA history. Whoever signs super max. He's made like 4 first team All NBA teams or something already in his career. Wasn't the best player on his team in the finals. So it's weird. Jason Tatum's on like a weird career arc right now. Um, I think this kicks in not this off like this season, but next season. I think he still had 1 year left on his current deal. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about them basically running it back?
Well, they just won the title, so might as well. And a team, with the salary implications of how much they're going to be paying some of these guys, they don't really have room to sign new guys.
Yeah.
So they might as well bring back the team that just won it all. And I mean, a lot of these guys are in their prime, except for like Drew Holiday, he's and Al Horford, who's a million years old.
Yeah.
Um, Aside from that, like everyone should be either pretty much the same or maybe even get a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, makes sense to run it back, I think. You
Yeah.
don't want to mess up something that worked.
Yeah. I agree with you. Um, I don't really know where you could improve. You kind of at the kind of basketball that they are playing, they are the best that they have been. We talked about this. I don't think it's sustainable, but for what they have accomplished, it makes total sense. I
Yeah.
think what they're doing. and it makes total sense why why the owners don't want to keep him anymore.
They're like, okay, that
All
the
right,
largest
that
in
was
NBA
fun.
history.
That was
Yeah, who
fun,
wants to
but
pay this guy? Not me.
another team is paying a lot of money, and I don't know how this worked out, but it worked out perfectly. I'm going to talk about the Lakers.
Yeah, for sure.
It worked out great. So,
Just as I planned.
yeah, just yeah, for sure you did.
I didn't plan
I
that.
know you didn't.
Yeah.
You're good. You're not that good. But okay, you're that good.
Thank you.
So, just some of the smaller deals. So Jackson Hayes accepted his player option, $2.4 million to return. Cam Reddish, who was injured. I liked him when he played, but he was injured quite a bit of last year. He accepted
Yeah.
his $2.5 million player option to return. Now we get into like the newer deals that have happened. So Max Christie signed a 4-year, $82 million deal to return. It's $8 million a year. For a guy who he was part of the rotation, but definitely like a
It's a
ninth,
loose
like
term.
well, a part of the rotation meaning like AD sat out this game, LeBron sat out that game,
Mm.
Max
First, I
Christie,
thought you
well,
said
because
KD.
he,
I was like, when was KD on on the Lakers? I don't remember that.
I'm starting rumors.
In your
They're starting
dreams,
rumors. Um,
Kevin Durant,
uh,
LeBron dapped up at the Olympics.
wait, LeBron gave him the side eye, and he's gonna sign with the team. Um, but yeah, so it's quite a bit of money, but he's a young player still being developing. And then Bronny James, who just signed, just was drafted in the second round by the Lakers, signed. This is very interesting for a rookie because this is not usually something that happens. He signed a 4-year, $7.9 million rookie contract.
Yeah,
Uh,
4-year
the la
guaranteed contract for second round.
the the last year of the deal is a team option. I have thoughts. Um,
Give me your thoughts so far before we get into the rest of it.
Yeah, so Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish accepting their player options for sure. I don't think anyone was going to give them more than that, so totally understand that. I have a feeling if there are trades that need to happen, they might be part of it.
Sure.
But the money is also they're not earning that much to be a piece. Max Christie signing a 4-year, $32 million. I think that contract is one they gave him to possibly use to move him because 8 million
That's how the
is
Lakers play, man.
that's
how
how
they
they
go.
do it. I've been a fan too long to not think that's not what they do. So um I think that's why he has that. But good for him. Young player that's getting, 32 million is nothing to shrug at. It's quite a bit of money.
I want
4
32 million.
years. What's up?
I want 32 million.
I do too. Give
Lakers
it to
should
me.
pay us.
Give us the money. And then Bronny James signing a 4-year, $7.9 million rookie contract. Okay. Played 1 year in college, USC.
Yeah.
Drafted second round, number 55.
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna pull up his stats?
I am.
Yeah, I knew can I guess them in
Please.
college?
I would love if you
Yeah. So let me know when
don't.
you have it up because I already have an idea of what his points
Just
were.
got ads all over the place. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. You ready?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so I'm gonna guess that his average points per game was 6.
Okay.
Assists, I'm gonna guess was 0.9,
Okay.
and rebounds was 2.
Okay.
How good am I?
It's pretty close. You did good.
Really?
Yeah, 4.8 points. You overestimated them a little bit there.
Oh
Uh,
man.
2.1 assists. You underestimated his assist total. Playmaking legend.
Okay.
2.8 rebounds. You
Okay.
underestimated his rebounding. Yeah, and you didn't even mention point 0.8 steals. Come on now.
Oh, of course. I forgot. I remember watching every game and he got point 0.8 steal every game. I forgot.
Now it makes sense, right?
Yeah, so signing a 4-year deal is
I
as
have
a rookie.
efficiencies if you want him to. But
Oh my sure. Okay. Shooting efficiency. Is
yeah,
it like it's separated by twos and threes?
yeah.
Okay, so 2%, it's 2%. Oh my God. Is
Well,
two
it's
point
overall it's
percentage.
overall percent and 3%.
Okay, his overall
I
percentage.
actually do have twos if you want to do twos, but typically
No,
it's
let's do
field goal
overall. Yeah.
threes. Yeah.
His field goal percentage, I'm gonna guess is 42.
Okay.
His 3-point percentage is 29.
Okay.
What else is
What
there?
about free throw?
Free throw, I'm gonna guess he's like 82%.
Okay. Give me blocks.
How many average blocks per game?
Yeah.
0.4.
Okay. Give me turnovers.
turnovers, I'm gonna guess 0.9. No, 0.6.
Okay. Um, Give me minutes.
12.
Okay. He played 25 games. How many of those did he start?
uh, 3.
6.
Okay, I was like single digits for sure.
Yeah, so in the 25 games he played, 6 of them started. He averaged 19 minutes per game.
Okay.
Um, and he shot 36% from the field, so you overestimated him.
Overestimated.
Yeah, he shot 27% from three, overestimated him there.
Overestimated.
67% from the line, overestimated that one too. 0.2 blocks, overestimated him. And 1.1 turnovers. So
So
it was worse on every category that you
yeah.
just guessed.
Um.
Oh,
Anyway, so yeah, we're
for your deal,
guaranteed to
baby.
have him for a 4 year. I just don't understand. Has this ever happened before? A 4 year rookie deal?
I have no like
It just
for a
makes no
second round pick,
sense.
you mean?
Yeah. Also, without even seeing him play any NBA minutes, that's just crazy to me. I don't understand it.
LeBron said give him his money.
Look. I mean, like at the end of the day, that's definitely what it was. I talked in the last pod. I didn't mind the draft. This I kind of mind. Um, because I
Well,
don't
the
know. He's
Lakers
not.
aren't an expensive team, right?
Well, we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Well, let's move on because I don't love the 4 year rookie contract,
Yeah.
obviously. Next, his father, LeBron James, declined his $51.4 million player
I don't know why you
option.
saying his father was really funny to me. His father.
He declined his $51.4 million option to sign a 2 year, $104 million deal to return. It's $52 million a year, so he's getting 0.6 more. The deal includes a no trade clause, and a player option is in the second year.
Mm.
So LeBron said he would take less money if the Lakers managed to acquire either 3 players: Jonas Valanciunas, James Harden, or Klay Thompson.
Shout out Jonas Valanciunas for being on that list of players.
For
So
real,
random.
to me, 2 of those players make sense for the Lakers: Valanciunas and Klay Thompson. James Harden makes no sense to me on the team, because he's not a good player.
The way you said that it makes no sense. I
It
actually
makes no
don't
sense
think
to me.
Valanciunas makes a lot of sense, just because I think AD needs to play center for the Lakers to be their best version of themselves.
Yeah, but I think he would be a great backup rather than Jackson Hayes.
You got me there.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, what about
Anyways,
Christian Wood?
oh yeah, he's a player. So we'll talk about Klay Thompson in a little bit. Anyways, so none of those deals obviously happened, and that's why he just came back and got even more money than he declined in the first place, which is so funny to me.
Yeah,
So
he said, "All right, give me the max. Give me the max."
you included a graphic here. Do you want to break it down? Since I didn't add it, I don't really know like if you just want to just tell me because it's about salary
Yeah, I
about the
just saw
Lakers.
this graphic and I thought it was interesting. I won't go through all the players.
Yeah.
You know, but basically the Lakers' current salary is 190 million. With all of the deals they've gotten to people and all that. That is past the second apron. So that would mean the Lakers would be a second apron team in the upcoming season. Currently, their draft assets, they can trade a maximum of 2 picks, 2029 and 2031. Those are the only picks they still have. They can also trade 2030, but not with the other two because of the stipend rule. I'm not sure if are you familiar with the stipend rule?
You refreshed my memory. I know the
So
name.
the stipend rule is basically you can't trade picks in back-to-back years. So you
Yeah, yeah,
have to
yeah, yeah.
trade picks every other year.
Hmm.
And that's why teams will swap instead. They'll do a pick 1 year, swap, pick, swap, etc.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, they have swaps in 2026, 28, 29, 30, 31, 4 second round picks available. The only exceptions the Lakers still have are second round exception. I don't even know what that means, and the vet minimum. So they can sign minimum guys if they want to fill out the rest of their roster. They have a pretty full roster already, but yeah. So the Lakers are a second apron team. Um, their talent level has not changed that much. I think they drafted Dalton Connect, Bronny James. You just mentioned Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, Max Christie coming back. So the team is basically the same as last year
Yeah.
when they were
I
a
mean,
seven seed and won one game.
yeah. I mean,
Relatively competitive series, but.
Yeah, I look at the roster and it's definitely worse than last year. I mean, I think Torian Prince makes a lot more sense than some of these guys on the team. I don't know why Gabe Vincent's still a Laker.
It signed him
Hasn't
to like a 3-year deal. They don't
I
have a
know.
choice.
It's like why don't you just get him? I guess no one else wants him either. That's the thing. He's the first name I look at. I'm like, get him out of there.
Get him out, yeah.
Get him out. Get him out of there.
Maxwell Lewis. I don't even know who that is. I don't think.
I like Maxwell Lewis.
Okay.
He's on the summer league roster, but
Oh,
he's a
okay.
good young player. He's a good young player for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. Jalen Hood
Uh,
Schifino,
um,
is he gonna play this year or
so he just had surgery, so he's not going to be in the summer league.
God?
I know
What did
some
he do
like
last season? That was
I know. That's another player. I'm like I can't say too much because but he's so
we
young
saw
where
him at
he
Summer
just
League.
I know.
We were like right next to him.
Yeah, I remember we watched Max Christie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this offseason isn't done for the Lakers either because I doubt anyone in the organization is happy with this roster as it
I know
stands.
they've talked about with D'Lo accepting his player option, perhaps trading him, maybe.
Yeah, I think the biggest draft pieces
So
that
Bronny
I
can start at point guard.
see
So.
good. The the biggest trade pieces I see for us are D'Lo, Rui, Hachimura, and
I love Ruby.
Max Christie. I out of all those, I like Rui Hachimura the most.
Yeah.
I don't like D'Lo. Although I know we've had him, for 2 years, and
D'Lo.
he really has like some really great games and some really bad ones.
Some
It's kind of tough.
stinkers.
Stinkers, we don't like those. So we'll see. We'll keep updated with the Lakers. I doubt they want to stay in the second apron. I'm sure they're going to try and get under
Not
that.
for this team. Not for this first round exit. Yeah. Before I get into
Ha
the
ha
other LA
ha
team,
ha
I want to
ha.
I want to hear some breaking news here on the pod. Some teams we already talked
Oh,
about.
okay.
Simone Fontecchio, 2 years, 16 million, going back to the Pistons.
Cool.
Shout out Fontecchio, averaged 15 on 42% from three after getting traded there last year. So
Yeah,
that's a
we're font Necco heads.
you said his name, not even close to Fontecchio. It's not that hard.
I was because I was trying to say player, head, fan, and
Yeah,
I
we're
just
big
come.
Fontec heads here.
Yeah, so it's just like
Also, I mentioned earlier that the Nuggets had not signed anyone. They just lost KCP. That's
yeah,
no longer true. They signed Dario Saric, 2 years, 10.6 million, for him to be a backup big, I guess. He was on the Warriors, of course.
yeah,
Um, you know, whatever. He feels like he's kind of on that, lower end of his NBA career.
yeah. To
Second
back
year
up,
has a player option. So.
yeah. So instead of DeAndre Jordan, you're putting in Dario Saric. Okay, about the same. Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we mentioned Johnny Bryant leaving the Knicks earlier. Sidney Lowe also leaving the Pistons, not the Knicks, to join Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland. So
Okay.
yeah, just some news I saw,
Cool.
popping up as we were potting. I thought I'd mention that real quick.
Thank you.
None of it's super important though.
Yeah. Let's talk about the
Let's
next the next few teams we're going to talk about I think had the
big, big,
biggest
yeah, big, big, big.
kind of
Big.
moves this offseason. Tell me about the Clippers.
I'll tell you. The Clippers. The first big thing, they didn't extend the qualifying offer to Brandon Boston Jr.
Are you kidding?
What? Uh, sad about that one. Love me some BBJ. Um, I don't even know what I'm saying. What I do like is getting
BJ.
Ty Ty Jones on a non-guaranteed 1-year deal to come back. A lot of bad players on the Hornets. I like Kai Jones. I know he had a whole breakdown and was like, trade me. I like him though.
Yeah, he was good in summer league. We definitely enjoyed watching him. Yeah.
Like his passion. Mo Bamba signed a 1-year deal, leaving the Philadelphia 76ers, as well as Nicholas Batum, um, signing a 2-year, $9.6 million deal.
Give me some Mo. Give me some Nick.
Okay. Mo Bamba, UT legend. You got the UT shirt on. So,
Hey,
and
that's
Kai
why I wore it.
Jones,
That's
double
why I
UT
wore it.
legend.
That's why I wore it.
Wow, how'd you know?
I did.
I saw this interesting graphic of the Clippers and 76ers, and like so many players go from those teams to each other, like Marcus Morris, another one. Um,
James Harden,
James Harden, yeah, like they have so many players that have switched between their teams. It's interesting.
Robert Covington too.
Robert, yeah, we'll get into the big one here in a bit.
Yeah,
Russell
yeah.
Westbrook accepted his $4 million player option to return. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Russell Westbrook. And then
Mr. West.
they immediately announced they want to trade him. So,
Oh,
um, and his most likely shooter right now is the Nuggets. I'm a big Russell Westbrook fan, but that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see how him and Jokic would play well together. I don't get it,
oh man, we lost Reggie Jackson. Let's get Russell Westbrook.
dude. I can see, dude, Jokic doing like a behind the back pass to cutting Westbrook, and he like dunks
And then
it in.
he misses the dunk. It's the back iron. He goes, "Who blocked it?"
Dude, bad pass. Derek Jones Jr. signed a 3-year, $30 million deal, leaving the Mavericks. It's a big deal for the Mavericks.
Yeah, might be my favorite player on the Clippers now.
It's not a high bar to reach.
Not high, not high.
Russell Westbrook, I guess, de facto has to be mine.
I like Kawhi
Um,
Leonard, but I just don't like him on the Clippers. Whereas
well,
I because
I mean,
know
I
he
don't
could.
like Russell Westbrook on the Clippers. I just like Russell Westbrook.
No, for sure. Because I'm like Kawhi Leonard could get that much money anywhere.
What
Whereas
about a
Derrick
beer
Jones,
coffee, man?
dude, are you kidding? I love Kawhi. No, I'm more of a tea guy. Oh, got him.
What?
Uh, I like Terrence Man. That's for sure.
You saw him at a gym one time.
Definitely a T-Man fan
T-Man
and
fan.
an NPAL fan.
I was gonna say Norman Powell. Yeah,
Norman
that's
Powell,
a
Norman
very good
Powell.
one too.
But yeah,
Is Daniel Tice on that team still?
yes, he definitely is. Also, I didn't mean to interrupt, and you're right, Derrick Jones Jr. on the team now.
Yeah, another junior, KPJ, Kevin Porter Jr. Scoot, scoot.
So,
Signed a 2-year deal. Second year of the deal has a player option. He showed strong play over a 6-week period in Greece in April and May. So I guess that's what led them to offer. Apparently, he had a lot of suitors and kind of had his pick of the litter. Second year deal having a player option is kind of crazy. He, if people don't remember, reached a plea agreement of third-degree reckless assault misdemeanor back in January. He's in the process of completing a court-ordered program. Once completed, his plea will move to not guilty with no criminal record. I have a problem with this. If you don't know, if you haven't been tuning in to the NBA or to our podcast, we talked about this so long ago, like so long ago. It was at the beginning of last season. Basically, Kevin Porter Jr. assaulted his girlfriend at the time, who was a WNBA player, I believe. And it was like when they were at like a hotel or something together. There was footage of it. It's an ugly scene. It's a crime. He should be in prison, not in NBA. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. And the Clippers, they made an announcement. I don't know if you saw this. They made an announcement that basically said, "Yeah, we like taking these guys and have a bad past. Trying to rebuild them, trying to take chances, trying to buy low on them." That's basically what they said. So Kevin Porter Jr. They tried to get Miles Bridges, of course. Same crime for Miles Bridges there. They have Kai Jones, who had his not great exit from the Hornets. That one I don't mind as much.
yeah,
Josh Primo, who exposed himself to women on the Spurs and was waived. I do mind that one. Yeah, so this is what they do. They just like get projects of bad
it
character.
is so weird and just gross that you would announce that as a team.
Yeah.
Like we've kind of noticed that, but maybe it is a coincidence. I mean, if you just look at basketball, like yes, they can play basketball, but you know who else can play basketball? A lot of other
All
people
the
who
other
don't
people in
do
the
awful
NBA.
things
Yeah.
off the court. So it is definitely strange. It makes not liking the Clippers a lot easier for me.
Yeah.
And especially because of these next two signings. It makes it a lot easier for me to not like the Clippers.
Yeah. You know, yeah, they might be right there at 30 for me too, or 29. I don't remember if they're at 30 or 29. It's Clippers Celtics, so like your bottom two. I don't remember the order.
Yeah, Clippers are definitely my least favorite.
No, definitely now. They gotta be.
Yeah, definitely now. Yeah.
James Harden, after the whole Daryl Morey fiasco in Philadelphia, he was liar, trade me, went to the Clippers, didn't pay me, whatever. Well, 2 years, 70 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money
I
for
guess.
old man James Harden.
I guess. Yeah. Hmm.
Uh,
I have nothing else to say about that. Hmm.
okay, good to know. And then, of course, maybe the biggest news of the free agency period, Paul George declined his $48.7 million player option to enter free agency. I'm not going to read this thing word for word because it's pretty long, but basically the Clippers put out an announcement. I think it was Lawrence Frank, the owner, I believe is the owner's name, put out an announcement that basically said, Paul's leaving. He's not going to sign here. He didn't accept his option. We can't do any sign and trades or anything like that because the Clippers are paying a lot of money. They're kind of in like separate second agent territory as well. And basically, their thoughts were that they wanted a 3-year deal, like Kawhi Leonard's extension he signed during the season. Paul George wanted a 4-year deal, and that was that. Like that was the whole negotiation. Neither side would budge on. Paul George wouldn't come down. The Clippers wouldn't give him the 4th year. So now they lose him for nothing. Um, Not a great move, you know. Um, give him a 4th year and trade him later if you need to. Like you just lost him for nothing. So now they're going to be going into a dome, and they're going to be down a star. Kawhi already doesn't play. James Harden's getting up there in age. Not not great look for the new logo Clippers. Excited about the logo though. Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite part about this statement is the very end where it says, we're excited for the opportunities that we've now been afforded because of the flexibility of this CBA. Kawhi Leonard, all NBA player, plays half the season. Ty Lue, best coach in the league, sure. And then it says we're gonna have a highly competitive season moving forward into a dome, bringing in top end talent. Who? Derek Jones Jr.,
That is top end.
Kevin Porter Jr. Like, what statement is this? It just seems it's almost laughable, at least to me.
And
Um,
it's really tough to, it's worth mentioning the trade, right? When Kawhi Leonard signed there, and he basically said, I want Paul George here. Paul George at the time was in the Thunder with Russell Westbrook,
mhm.
just finished third in MVP voting. And they traded Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, who just finished second in MVP voting, by the way. I don't think anyone really saw that coming though, so you can't fault him for that too much. He just finished his rookie year and was like a
Yeah,
fine bench player, basically.
yeah,
And like a billion picks and swaps for one conference finals appearance, 3 playoff series wins over a 5-year span. Not ideal.
yeah. And you're definitely much worse than you were last year. There's just there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The West is getting more competitive, and you got worse.
I think we both agree that Kawhi Leonard's a better player, but Paul George has been the better Clipper.
And
He's there.
healthier. Yeah, yeah. There you go.
He's
Yeah, he's just been.
consistent.
Yeah, so it's a little. That's why this sentence is a bit, funny to me. Um, just kind of saying that. But,
So,
I agree with you. Should have given him a 4-year deal and then trade him early in the season, get something.
yeah,
Wouldn't
I
be
just
that
lost him
hard to
for
do
nothing.
that. Yeah.
Trash.
Yeah.
Tell me
Well,
about the
let's talk about the
team.
other side.
Yeah, let's talk about the other side. We'll get to
Yeah,
Paul
yeah,
George in a bit, but
yeah. Philadelphia 76ers. So, I shouted out a player in the beginning of this episode. He's waived. The 76ers waived Paul Reed.
I hate that. I love
Can
Paul
you
Reed.
believe that? I literally read that like 2 minutes before we got on the Zoom to pod, and I was like, "Are you? Why? What? I don't get it. Are they expecting him to make a lot of money? Because I'm pretty sure he's still on a rookie contract. So, um, but anyways, I don't understand.
Yeah, I think he was a second round pick, so I don't know what his contract even looked like.
Yeah. Eric Gordon signed a 1-year deal, leaving the Suns.
Another former Rocket for Daryl Morey.
Another
Loves gathering
former.
them there.
He sure does. Andre Drummond is back, signing a 2-year, $10+ million deal, leaving the Chicago Bulls. I guess that's why they waived Paul Reed.
He was there like
Uh,
2 years ago. Remember
yeah, and he had a pretty good season
Oh,
um, with them. So welcome back, Andre Drummond.
legend.
Kelly Oubre Jr. signs a 2-year, $16.3 million deal to return, and the second year of the deal is a player option.
Good
Uh,
value.
Good value. Played really well in the playoffs during the season. Thankfully, recovered from that getting hit by a car, which is
Yep.
crazy.
Tsunami
Um,
Papi.
yeah, crazy. Bad nickname though. and good value for them. And then this one was surprising. I did not
Big.
expect to read this.
Yeah.
Caleb Martin from the Miami Heat. He signed a 4-year, $32 million contract. It's about $8 million a year.
Right.
He declined a 5-year, $65 million contract to stay with the Heat. So this was not a money thing. This was I want to win.
I want to win. Yeah, he values winning over the money.
Um, so I do respect that. Caleb Martin kind of had a breakout season when the Heat made it all the way to the finals in
Yeah.
2023.
2. 3.
That's
You're right.
right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I was gonna say the season 22-23.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So definitely good for him. Got that wing depth. You lost Tobias Harris. You're and Nicholas Batum. I want to say Nikolai. It's not Nikolai. You
It's
get
the
on.
European thing.
It's the thing. Yeah, you get Eric Gordon, you get Kelly Oubre, Caleb Martin, pretty good. And then breakout superstar, most improved player. Tyrese Maxey signed a 5-year, 204 max extension to return. Very much worth that deal. Congrats to him. He
I feel
earned
like
it.
I should clarify. We said max a lot in this episode. The max is different per player.
Yeah.
It's based on when they're drafted. It's weird. It's like that's why Cage rookie max was like 226 and Franz was like 224 and Tyrese's is 204 because he was drafted later. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
strange. I don't get it, but
Yeah. Thank you for yeah, I knew that, but definitely worth noting. It's not everyone has the same max.
yeah, because we keep it's like a percent of the salary plus where you were drafted. It's confusing.
Yeah. It's not worth going into too crazily. But the big signing for the 76ers, Paul George
PG-13.
signed a 4-year, $212 million deal leaving the Clippers. And the last year of the deal has a player option. So he got what he wanted. He wanted a 4-year deal. Boom.
He used to be
You got
38
it.
in the last year.
But here's the thing. Well, okay, so let's talk about it. How do you feel
Let's talk
about
about it.
this?
Yeah, if I had to pick the winner of free agency right now, it's probably the 76ers.
Mhm.
Huge for them. They had a first round exit last year. It was a really close series with the Knicks. Of course, they were not fully healthy, and Embiid was in and out of the lineup. You add Paul George to be your tertiary option probably after Embiid and Maxey. That's huge. Whereas in the Clippers, he's the one option, and he has been that at times too for the Pacers and Thunder. So being like a spacer basically, but also someone who can shot create and stuff, especially in the East, which is a weaker conference right now. Um, the Celtics are running it back. I think Paul George is a big addition for them. We talked about the Knicks last time. To me, that feels like the big three in the East right now. With maybe the
Yeah.
Bucks lingering there at 4 because they haven't added much. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of money down the line, but to be a contender in the Joel Embiid era, capitalize on Maxi's like prime, basically, or like the entering his prime, it's a deal you have to make. And I think yeah, there's no reason this team shouldn't be able to make the conference finals, which they have not done with Joel Embiid as their best player. So
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And also, this is a deal you make every time it's
yeah,
offered for Paul George, even though, yes, you're
you
potentially.
didn't you got to pay him when he's old, but like you didn't give anything up. You didn't trade a
Yeah,
bunch of stuff for him.
exactly. And that's where the Clippers really messed up. They didn't get anything back out of it. They might have could have gotten something. But they didn't. 76ers definitely are up there in the free agency uh winners for me, if not
Yeah.
the winner for sure. And the thing is, they had the money to spend it too. It's not like they're on in the second apron. I doubt it. They're maybe in the first apron. But I really doubt that they are that much more expensive than a lot of these other teams.
Yeah, they had. I
So,
mean, with Tobias leaving, they had a lot of cap room.
yeah,
Might as well use it for a guy like that. Yeah,
totally.
and
And
I'm
definitely an
sure
upgrade.
we'll have our standings predictions and stuff when we get close to the season, and we can
Oh yeah.
talk about
Oh
it more
yeah, we
there.
will. What's the other big movement that happened?
Another big move, something the Mavericks did. So you mentioned they lost Derek Jones Jr. They signed Najee Marshall, 3 years, 27 million. The thing that confused me about this, $3 million less than Derek Jones Jr. Why didn't you just bring Derek Jones Jr. back? Because it feels like they cheaped out on not wanting to bring him back, and they signed Najee Marshall instead.
Well, I was gonna say that's the biggest signing of free agency is
That's the
Najee
one.
Marshall.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
that's
one. That's what I was talking about.
huge.
Yeah. No, I agree. Maybe they like
I
the.
like Najee Marshall, but like,
I like him too, but I don't know if he has that much more of an upside to Derrick Jones Jr. Maybe he's better offensively. Maybe because Derrick Jones Jr. is good defensively, Najee Marshall good defense, but
mhm.
I think Najee Marshall probably has just better shooting splits
Yeah,
than Derrick Jones Jr. But also, you already have a year with Derrick Jones Jr. under your belt. You have that chemistry. I think that matters more
yeah. I mean,
personally.
a good deal to like lose him though.
Yeah, for sure.
Good guy off the bench. But the actual big deal they made was Klay Thompson signing and getting signed and traded from the Warriors to the Mavericks, signing 3 years, $50 million deal. Worth noting, he declined 4 years, $80 million from the Lakers. Where Michael Thompson, his father, really wanted him to go. He played for the Lakers. I think he does like the Lakers on the radio. I think he's the guy that does that, Michael Thompson. So
Is that really? Is that
yeah,
his dad?
yeah,
Because I listen to the radio
yeah.
and I know who
I
you're
know you do.
talking about. Is that him?
Yeah, that's Clay's father who played for the Lakers, and he was like, he should go to
That's
the
the guy.
Lakers.
That's literally the guy who's obsessed with In and Out and talks about stopping at In and Out every time after a Lakers game. He's like, because they're always do commercials for In and Out, and then he's like, "That's where I'm going to be after the game. I'm going to drive home Orange County and I'm going to stop and get In and Out every time." That's actually crazy. Um,
Yeah,
Damon's looking something up real quick, but yeah. So Klay
I am looking it
Thompson.
up. Yeah, he does. He does.
I thought
Some
you were looking up. He's obsessed with In and Out. Yep, looking it up. Yeah, he is a big In and
he
Out
loves
fan.
In and Out. It's true.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
true.
you were
It says it
surprised.
right here. It says it right here.
Um, no,
But
but that's
yeah,
big. That's the end of an era in Golden State. Steph, Clay, Draymond, they won 4 championships together. Um, it's been kind of writing has been on the wall, so to speak, for a while about Clay leaving. Got benched for Pajimski last year. A lot of kind of he had a lot of public things where he was like, yeah, I'm not as good as I used to be, but like I still want to get out there and show what I got and blah blah blah. So this is big. This is a spite signing. He didn't take the bigger money with the Lakers. He said, "I'm going to go to this team, the Mavericks, that were just in the finals." So he did that. 2 second-round picks were sent to the Warriors for the deal, so that's what they recouped from a legend of their franchise. And Josh Green was sent to the Hornets for 2 second-round picks. I didn't understand that at all. I don't know if it was like they needed the salary to do it. I don't know.
maybe.
I have absolutely no clue. Like they just lost Josh Green for no reason. It seems
Yeah.
like, and I like Josh
And
Green.
I
So,
like Josh Green too. Yeah.
and then Steph Curry posted a thing on Instagram. Gonna miss you, Klay Thompson, even though we won't finish the journey together. What we did will never be done again. Couldn't have imagined a better run with you and Draymond. Changed the whole Bay Area. Changed the way the game is played. Killa Klay at the center of it all. Thank you for everything, bro. Go enjoy playing basketball and what you do. Splash Bros for life, my guy. That's how he signed it off. So
I
yeah,
mean, sweet. And
yeah.
I get it. It's obviously gonna be so weird
Gonna
to
be a
see
gut
him.
wrencher for the Warriors fandom, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But things like this happen.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, basketball is a business. Um, as much as people play it for fun and we enjoy it for the sport, um, money is the root of it, and things and decisions are made about it. Sometimes not. Sometimes it's personal, and seems like this was a bit personal, not because of players or anything, just because he, uh, wanted to play the game that he can only play it now.
yeah.
And I'm glad that someone was willing to take a chance on him. I'm sure, I knew someone was going to. What do you think the fit's going to be like in Dallas?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I've talked about Clay and how I don't like the way he plays a lot of the time, but I looked back at his stats last year. He's averaging like he shot like 11 threes a game and averaged like 38%. Like he's still a really good shooter.
Yeah,
It just feels like when I watched him, it's like, okay, he's like getting the ball and taking this weird contested like turnaround mid-range jumper for no reason when there are open guys. But I feel like in Dallas, with Luka and Kyrie doing the ball handling, he'll be more of like a spot up guy probably.
yeah,
So now instead of Josh Green and Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington taking those open threes to the top of the key, it's Klay Thompson. That's definitely an upgrade. I think that was a big reason the Mavericks not I mean, one of the reasons they didn't win the finals, obviously the Celtics are just a better team as well. But um, having those other guys make shots when Luka and Kyrie get a lot of attention to them is big. So I think
hmm
he could fit in well there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't hate it. They Mavericks finally have a third star, you know? Not that, yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely the quotes, air quotes, third
Yeah.
star.
Like
Um,
one of my arms was off the screen, but
yeah, because he's not the player he was for sure in his prime. Otherwise, he'd still be with the Warriors. But I think, at least I hope that Jason Kidd is a defensive minded coach. Hopefully, he can untap. He's not going to be as good a defender as he was,
yeah,
but try to be a little bit better on that end and less focusing on, those mid-range shots and just shooting threes and defense.
mhm.
I think will be good. And having another guy that you can rely on to take those important shots if Kyrie or Luca can't. Klay is definitely a guy you can trust and has been trusted in previous situations. So I don't hate it.
Yeah,
It's just going to be weird seeing him in a Mavericks uniform.
it is weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
think he gets his number retired? Probably.
probably it was the Warriors for
Warriors
sure. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think
statue.
Draymond, Steph, him and Steph and Draymond together,
That'd be interesting.
maybe, but not by
4
himself.
championships. I mean, yeah,
I mean,
seems.
come on, like that's a lot.
I forgot to
So
mention Paul George can't wear 13 on the 76ers. It's retired by will.
yeah, I know. So like, I
Does he do
really
now?
wasn't. Well, he wore 24 when he first
Also
joined.
retired.
I know. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it's retired too. I hope he doesn't
PGA
wear the.
baby, let's go.
I really hope he doesn't wear number one. I hate the way number one looks. Number one
It,
looks
it
so
just
bad.
it looks better on some players than others.
It truly does. Like T
Like
Mac is a
I
number
was gonna
one.
say, I love Tracy McGrady number
Tracy Mack is
one.
number Tracy Mack. I just say Tracy Mack. Who's Tracy
Tracy.
Mack? Tracy Mack Grady looks good in number one, but James Harden wearing number one looks
Yeah, it looks
disgusting.
weird.
It
I
looks
don't,
so
I don't like it.
disgusting.
We'll see.
Um,
PG
yeah,
zero. No, Maxi zero.
That would also be well, double zero would also be whatever. We'll find out. Anywho, let's flip it. Let's talk about the Warriors a little bit. So, we talked about some of their losses. They lost Klay Thompson. They lost Chris Paul. They signed Anthony Melton to a 1-year, $12.8 million deal, leaving the 76ers. $12.8 million.
That's the full MLE. That's a lot.
An MLE stands for mid-level exception.
Correct.
I'm just saying. I just said it.
For the listener. Yeah, I get it.
Thank you for listening. Another move that this one surprised me. So Kyle Anderson,
Yeah.
was on the Grizzlies, then on the Timberwolves the last 2 years. He signed and traded to the Warriors. He was signed and traded to the Warriors from the Timberwolves, signing a 3-year, $27 million deal. Second round pick swap and cash was sent to the Warriors. I'm assuming this was because of the second apron.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. You got Joe Ingles. What do you need Kyle Anderson
Exactly
for?
right. But yeah, I like Kyle Anderson on the Timberwolves quite a bit. He adds something to the Warriors. I don't know what.
Imagine him and Draymond playing together.
That's what I was just about to say. Him and Draymond on this court together
absolutely filthy.
Makes zero sense to me. But this next trade, sign and trade, I was really upset about, and I'll tell you why. Okay. I'm furrowing my eyebrows and I'm getting crazy. So Buddy Hield, Bahamas Legends. He plays for the Bahamas team. You know
yes,
that?
I did know that.
Okay.
He was in that picture I cropped DeAndre Ayton out of.
Oh yeah. Buddy Hield signed and traded to the Warriors from the 76ers. He signed a 3-year, $21 million deal.
Yeah.
18 million of the 21 million comes in the first 2 years, but a small 3 million had to be guaranteed on the third year in order for Hield to be eligible for a sign and trade. A 2031 second round pick via Dallas was sent to the 76ers. I'll tell you why this deal upset me. Okay. This is a very good deal for the Warriors.
Yeah. New Splash Bros.
It's because the Lakers should have got him.
Okay.
It's because rumors of the Lakers signing Buddy Hield
to the Lakers for 5 years.
Since the Sacramento Kings, since all the way instead of I remember we were gonna trade him. But Kuzma was in that trade, and they're like, "No, we're not trading Kuzma." And then we traded Kuzma for Westbrook. I'm like, "Oh, I love my front office."
Thank you, Rob
I
Palinka.
hope no one gets to this part in the podcast. They're just
It's like
screaming.
2 hours in. They
Yeah, I
stopped. They
know.
stopped
We're
listening at minute 4. So
4 minutes. Yeah, I was like 4 minutes ago. 4 minutes in. Anyways, it's good for the Warriors. I mean, this is the only significant thing I think they've done.
it's good.
Um,
Yeah, I mean they're going to be like a playing team, but sure.
yeah, exactly. People are gonna be scared of them because of Steph. No other reason.
Can you name the most threes made in the last 5 years? The top two.
Yeah, I know. I know the answer.
What's the answer?
DeAndre Ayton and Derek Lively. No, I'm
Okay,
kidding.
that's like one combined. Yeah,
No, Buddy Hield and Steph Curry.
Buddy Hield and Steph Curry. No, the
Yeah.
new Splash Bros. I'm telling you, Buddy Hield better
Yeah.
than Klay Thompson.
Well, I, I see an argument to be made.
I mean, at
So
this point in their career,
exactly, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
for Klay overall, yeah.
He's just, yeah, iconic for sure. But yeah, I like this for the Warriors. I'm glad they finally did something. If they didn't do this, I'd be like
They
like
had the worst
Steph's gonna
offseason.
retire. Yeah, like it's gonna retire like just like as a
Does
14.
Steph finish as a Warrior?
Yeah,
Yeah, he has to, right?
yeah.
I'll be
Come
so
on.
sad if he goes to any other team.
It
Like I
doesn't
hate
make
the Warriors, but I love Steph Curry. He's so likable. I hate him.
Yeah, he really. Yeah, I hate him because he's likable too. That mother. Anyway, so yeah, that is
That's everything that's happened so
that's
far.
everything. Oh my! And it only took us 2 hours.
Sorry.
Which is fine. But
Isn't
let's
it?
talk just briefly. Outstanding free agents.
Yeah, let me run you through the list of the important names. Okay, it's not every free agent here. This
Yeah,
article,
yeah.
the first article I clicked on. This is who they say are the important names.
Okay, here we go. You tell me who it is, and I'll tell you where they end up.
Okay,
Go.
Patrick Beverly,
I don't know.
Wong Dong,
Bucks.
Sadiq Bey.
Oh, okay. Slow down. Okay, keep going.
You're not doing the.
Sadiq Bey,
You gave up
Lakers.
immediately.
Go.
DeMar DeRozan,
Kings.
Kings. Let's do Kings. Spencer Dinwiddie.
Nets for the plot.
Like the third time. Markel Fultz, a free agent.
Ooh, that's a guard that's definitely gonna leave. You know what? I see him like maybe like backup 76er.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Haywood Highsmith.
You know what? I see him like back up 76er.
I feel like he's just going to go back to the Heat. I feel like that's the
Yeah,
Heat.
I
Heat
feel
their
like
guys
for
most of the
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Tyus Jones.
Ooh. Spurs would have been cool, but I think with Chris Paul there, he probably won't go to the Spurs.
Who
But
needs
you
a
need
point
to
guard?
you need to and he does and I wonder if he's gonna make the big deal that he wants to be like starting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if he makes that big deal, then I don't know.
He
Maybe
averaged
Pistons.
12 and 7 on 49, 41, 80. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Maybe Pistons.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have signed him more than like Tobias Harris, but whatever.
Luke Kennard.
Grizzlies.
Kyle Lowry.
Probably Sixers.
Retirement home.
Yeah.
Isaac.
Or Lakers. Or Lakers. I feel like he might just end up there. Isaac Okoro, Cavaliers.
He's restricted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Trent Jr. Good shooter.
I don't know why. I have a feeling the Clippers might try to poach him.
Congrats, you're a Piston. Last but not least, Lonnie Walker, like Lakers legend.
Oh, I like Lonnie. I like Lonnie quite a bit. I don't see why you don't build around him and Cam Thomas. The Nets.
Oh, okay, that's the future. Lonnie Walker and Cam Thomas.
What's wrong with that?
They have empty seats, and that's the case.
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, they play defense, kind of.
That's
anyways.
all. That's the means. I had this article up earlier. No mention of Fontecchio on there, so I don't know if the importance factor is really there, like I want it to be. But
I don't know. I probably not. I feel like it probably
I love
updated.
big tech.
Yeah, I ever since I knew he existed, I'm a fan.
Yeah, right.
Like a few months ago.
Like a 28-year-old rookie out of nowhere.
Yeah, good for
All
him.
right. Before we wrap here, 2 hours in, you have a concert to go to, 20 minutes. We're gonna rapid fire these. Let's not talk about it too much.
For sure.
What do you think is the most important or impactful signing out of all of free agency so far?
It's kind of tough. I would probably say Paul George on the 76ers. Just because of the weight of what that kind of brings. But if you I'll just finish. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Paul George.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in between Paul George and I'll say Klay Thompson to the
Yeah.
Mavericks, just because they were in the finals. So
Yeah.
adding somebody like that to a finals team, pretty
Yeah.
big.
I think important. Yeah.
Uh, what do you think is the most underrated signing? Like,
Yeah. I did
kind of
mention
known
this a
or
little bit earlier. But I think there's two for me at least.
okay,
But I'd say Chris Paul.
yeah,
Just to raise the ceiling a little bit for the Spurs, and I'd say Isaiah Hartenstein.
yeah. He
Like
got a
I
lot.
feel like
He got a lot of money.
yeah, I think people have been talking about it, but like not enough, and I think it's gonna make a big difference.
Yeah, I think
What about you?
it's gonna be huge for the team. I'm scrolling back through this because I didn't even
Yeah.
have one ready to go.
Yeah,
So
I gotta think of the next thing to answer you too.
I'm gonna go with KCP to the Magic. I think the shooting is underrated. I think the winning championship on the Lakers and Nuggets, that kind of veteran mentorship, I think is
Yeah,
pretty big for those guys. So and
yeah,
then yeah, do you have a personal favorite? Do you have one that just really you're like, oh, that's perfect guy in the perfect place, or maybe a player you really like and it's gonna be a good opportunity?
yeah. You know, I didn't like Valanciunas to the Wizards. I'll tell you that much. But you know what? What signing I did like, I just passed one up, and I like. You know, I like these two. I mentioned it a little bit. I really liked the Aaron Wiggins and Isaiah Joe.
Mm,
Like locking them in for the long term.
yeah.
I like that they have these guys. They're good. They like them, and they're locking them in to good team friendly deals. What about you?
Yeah, you mentioned those Thunder guys, the Buddy Boheim thing really speaks to me. I can't lie. I can't lie. Yeah, I mean, this kind of sounds silly, but I like Tyrese Maxey getting the max, after the year he had. It's like obvious,
Yeah,
it's really obvious, but as a player, I like the way he plays. I like the passion he shows. So I'm glad he got his bag because like Kate Cunningham getting a max, like the potential's there, but he hasn't shown it.
yeah,
Whereas Tyrese Maxey was drafted later, and he's already shown it. So I'm glad he got the respect.
yeah. I'll throw in one more underrated deal. I think Caleb Martin from the Sixers.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
I think
huge,
that's
huge for them.
underrated. Yeah.
Guy almost won the
Um,
Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, good
Nuts.
for him. Anyway, so yeah, that's free agency. There's a lot going on. Like we mentioned last pod, we pre-recorded an episode, but we're gonna do one more before I leave. Um,
Yes, we
and
pre-recorded something that I haven't edited yet at all. I didn't do that.
yeah. And that'll be released at some point, but we'll do one more before I am traveling
In person.
in person. I might as well just hold off. I mean, not that much is gonna happen until
It's gonna
then.
be in person, right? Yeah.
Yeah, not much has happened. Might as well, right? And then again, thanks for listening. If you made it this far, we really appreciate it. What was your favorite signing of free agency? Good toss, good one. Damon. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to say that.
Like middle school
Damon.
all over again.
That's so stupid.
I
Um,
hate it here.
um, just took a shot and he just didn't really, he just threw it out of bounds. Really.
I know you
But
gotta go, so
yeah, I appreciate it. But just wanted to say, everyone, thank you for listening. If you made it this far, we really appreciate it. What was your favorite signing? Let us know, and we'll catch you next time in person. And this has been a two-man game with Damon and Dom.
fuck it.